Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 14 of It's All Geek to Me, the pop culture chat show where three friends with varying degrees of geek knowledge get together once a week to have a chat about all things geek. Now, joining me this week and every week is my guest host. Please give it up for Mr. Chris Lumb.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Lumb. How are you? You all right, love?
I'm all right, cheers. You look like you're in 8-bit, though.
I look like I'm in 8-bit.
Yeah, it
wow.
looks like you.
Oh, when it's the big screen.
Yeah, it looks like it looks all right now. It's settling down now. You're going 16-bit.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Well, I tell you what, let's stop people looking at my ugly face and let's give it up for Mr. Nathan Webb. Come on out, Webby.
I'm just laughing at how high your voice can go when you're flustered.
Yeah, no, I didn't know what it was on about. Hey, bit face, what are you on about? And this week we've got a very special guest, and he's a guy who it's his second venture on It's All Geek to Me. He joined us for our Boxing Day show, I believe. Is that right, Lummy?
Yes, that is correct. I've just verified it.
Fantastic! Yes, that's a geek fact check right there. And he's Nathan's rival Lego master, and he's here tonight to build us some Lego. Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Mr. Rob Girdler.
Hey,
hello. How you doing,
Rob? How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, pretty good. Thanks. Pretty good.
Thanks very much for joining us again.
I want to say straight off the bat, Rob, that your Lego collection is the best I've ever seen. Better than anybody else's I've ever seen or been round to.
Webby as a host if you're not careful, mate.
I don't know why they're inventing some sort of rivalry here, man. Lego's all about love to me. I'm absolutely fascinated by what you've got in your collection. I'd love to have a butcher's, but that's not what we're here for tonight. That's for
why are you
another
sat in
time.
the dark then, saying that? Why are you sat in the dark? Why are you turning your light on?
I don't want to turn my light on. I don't like it. I can see my face too much. No, yeah, another time we'll have a look around your Lego collection. That'd be a brilliant idea. But that's not what you're here for tonight, is it? Tonight we've got a live Lego build in the corner. So if we flip over to Rob's second camera, it might be able to show you what he's set up for us. Look at this. The James Bond car. I mean, he's got a challenge on his hands to finish that by the time we finish this show. But it's very organised. Look, all the pieces all neatly laid out.
It's like a real. It's like a game show with hands coming in.
Beautiful.
It's the way you introduced that, Nathan. I thought it was going to be like Stars in Their Eyes. I thought it was going to be, and tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be, and I was like, oh, what's Rob going to be? It's going to be better at building Lego than Nathan. That's what he's going to be. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how this model comes along tonight. So
I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys develop this rivalry between me and Rob. We've seen each other for 20 fucking years.
We've got Big T Moore.
Hey, look, Big T Moore.
You want to check your mic, Lummy?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's a bit crackling.
Let's see it. Pork crackling and all that.
Is it like crackling online? Can people hear that online?
Well, if it's crackling for me and Nathan and Rob, of course it's going to be crackling online. Grandad. Is this here microphone crackling for other people, or is it just for these three people?
Is that better?
That's a bit better.
That's much better.
All right, I'll stay on that then.
A little quieter, but
are we using this? This is like state of the art, Grandad. I'm not a granddad. I've got a state of the art microphone.
I've got this state of the. I've got a microphone.
I've replaced the gerbils and everything.
As he pulls out a loud hailer, just a rolled up piece of paper in a cone shape.
That is the best.
I'll tell you what. That's fucking going back to Amazon.
That's the best microphone that was available on the market in 1972. So give him a break.
So how's everybody's week been this week? I know I've had a bit.
Have you said hello to Big T Moore?
Oh, hello, Big T. How you doing, Big T? Well, these guys did. I was too busy telling you your microphone was cheap and shit. Martin, hey up, mate. How you doing? Thanks for joining us. What we're talking about tonight? We've got lots of things we're talking about tonight. We're gonna be just having a chat to each other, finding out how each other are doing, because little community here. Find out what you guys are doing. We've got another best or worst segment coming up this week. It's going to be best or worst sitcoms, and then we're going to have a chat about Star Wars and New Hope, the film that's arguably, if it wasn't for, this show wouldn't exist. So, you've got George Lucas to blame. So that's going to be the show.
And many other things.
Yeah, it's going to be just a slightly different freeform kind of flow this week.
We're mixing it up a bit, guys. Deal with it. This is the way it is. The modern world. We're mixing it up.
So how has everybody's week been this week? So I don't know about you, but I found out a lesson this week in why you should drink more water. Anyone else got any life lessons that they've discovered this week?
In the desert? What were the lessons?
Oh, dude! So I was doing this. I was doing this show a couple of weeks ago where I was directing, and over those 2 weeks, I'm pretty sure I drank more coffee than I did water. And so I started developing these headaches. And then, do you know what? I'm going to tell you, I started developing like a little problem down below. I like going to the toilet was becoming a little bit difficult. Just not exciting. No, it just wasn't as satisfying. You know, you go to the toilet for a week.
End, back end, what
front end, total front end.
You're John Thomas.
Yeah.
You're old Mister.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it just wasn't feeling as satisfying. Yeah, Mr. Little, and it wasn't feeling as satisfying as it normally does. You know, when you go to the toilet, you're desperate for the toilet, and it's like, well, this was just like, I feel like I've done half a wee here. So, as a typical man, I thought it'll go away, you know, and I didn't tell anybody about it apart from my girlfriend. And it kind of got to like 9 days later, and I thought, I should really phone the doctor about this. So now my doctor traditionally has been really, really bad. It's just a really awful doctor. If you go on Google, it's got like 1 star out of 5. It's just terrible. And mostly because of the receptionist. And there used to be 2 doctors that were based at this surgery. And if you need an appointment, you'd go on Google, you get the number, you phone up, and the lady would be like, hi, medical practice, what do you want? Like pretty much like that. You'd be like, oh, hi, my name's Rich Gittins. Can I book an appointment, please? And so, which doctor do you want to see? I was like, well, I don't know. I don't really know the names of the doctors. She's like, is it Mr. Hassan or Mr. Patel? And I'm like, I think I've seen Mr. Patel before. She's like, well, you've got the wrong number, and put the phone down on you, right? So you're like, right, okay. I mean, I'm sure that is my doctor, my practice. So I went on Google. I was like, oh, there is another phone number. So I phone up. And the same woman answers the phone. And I'm like, hi, can I get an appointment with Mr. Patel, please? And she's like, yeah, no problems at all. I'm just like, what? So it's crazy, right? I know, right, Big C? Absolutely.
We've got problems too, man. We're not robots.
Do you know what? I did Google this shit before I went to the doctors, but I may as well just ask you, Big T, because you seem to have the answer to all of our problems on this show. You seem to be really knowledgeable. So anyway, the practice has changed since then, and this new place has taken over. So I phone up, and they're like, "Do you want to come in and give us a little wee sample?" And I'm like, "Okay, fair enough." So I pop in. I do. Yeah, human contact, baby. And I went there, and I gave a little wee sample, and the lady just took one look of it and went, well, that looks like apple juice, so you're clearly not drinking enough. And I was like, oh, okay, then. She went, well, I'm just going to go and run a test on it. So she went and ran some tests, came back and went, no, it's absolutely fine. But you're in luck because Dr. I'm not going to give his actual name, but Dr. So-and-so is in, and he wants to run some tests on you. And I'm just thinking, that doesn't sound so lucky. And so, no, not those sorts of tests. No, okay. So basically, well, yeah, I guess so. So basically, I went into this sort of cubicle, and I'm waiting there for them, and knock on the door. Doctor comes in, followed by what I can only describe as. Do you remember Hurley from Lost?
Yeah.
Big like guy, curly hair, a bit sweaty and greasy. A young Hurley came in all his PPE, and I realised at that point they had a sort of junior doctor in that just needed some practice. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
So they're like, would you mind if he just ran some tests on you? Because obviously this is a down below problem, and just like to rule some things out. And I'm like, okay. He goes, hop onto the bed, and then he went. I pulled my trousers down, and he went, nope, don't need to do that yet. We're just looking at your stomach. I'm like, oh, okay. I pull my trousers up again. I was like, oh, God, this is awful. So he starts prodding around in my stomach, this young doctor does. And then they have to check down below and do like swabs and things like that and send them off for tests. And then they said, if this comes back and you're still not better, and it comes back negative, we're going to have to send you to a specialist where they're going to have to. They've got just better equipment." And I was like, "What does that? What does that mean?" And he went, "Well, just something that will go right up there to be able to get a sample." And I was like, "No!" And I was like, "That makes me." It's not like a little cocktail umbrella thing that they open and he was like, "No." I was just like, "I don't believe you." So yeah, that's kind of how my week's gone. It was
all that just to make us wince, and it's
definitely.
Geeks.
No, of course not. It's not like,
I thought you were going to say the doctor came in and he was wearing a Batman outfit or something.
No. I brought in Hurley from Lost.
The message of the story is, even though we're geeks and we've got important shit to be doing, like building Lego and watching Star Wars every night, got to look after your health, man. You got to get
that's what I'm drinking.
Nobody lives forever.
And I know people have asked in the previous weeks, am I just drinking neat squash? No, this is. They have, like, it was ages ago, or it might have been on prequel, requel, sequel.
Barley water is meant to be good for undercarriage problems anyway, isn't it? Like,
not if you get the bottles mixed up, because I drink my out of the bottle. We don't drink it out of a glass, because that's how we roll in this house. Saves washing up. But what
do you do with all the rest of the juice when you've got a full bottle?
No. I've got a full bottle. When one's empty, I just go on to that next bottle and then I fill it up. And then one week, one day I got the wrong bottle. And I drank the neat barley cordial. And I don't know if any of you have ever sucked off Willy Wonka, but I can imagine that's probably what it would taste like. It was fucking horrible. It was just really thick and gloopy and sweet.
Well, maybe that's where
which Willy Wonka?
Oh, definitely. Like, do you know what? Either.
If you had to suck a Willy Wonka off, which Willy Wonka would
Which one would you suck off? Which Willy Wonka's Willy would you go for? I'd probably go for...
I'm going to go for Gene Wilder.
Because he's dead.
No, just because everybody's going to go for Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp's
you're thrilling with these amazing bottles.
Man.
That's what you come here for. Yeah. You don't want to.
You know what?
Marvel news. We want to hear about Rich's bottles.
Every week, I ask you guys how you're doing.
This week, guys.
Every week, I ask you guys how you're doing, and not one week of either of you twats asked me how I am. So I thought, fuck it, I'm just going to unload this week.
We always ask you when we're off here when we're talking about geek stuff. Come on, I'm going to tell you a 15-minute story now about me getting my foot stuck.
I tell you what,
I begged my doctor to stick the finger up my bum. There was no reason for it. I just begged. It took me ages.
And he dressed as Batman.
She was really resistant to it. Like, you're a doctor, just do it.
I had that.
Didn't even have a problem. I just fancied it.
Cherry juice. Yeah, exactly. Cranberry juice as well. That's great advice. Thanks, Big T. Thanks, mate.
Dr.
If anybody's got any problems, just message him in.
We'll see if we can solve them tonight.
Anybody else? Anybody else got any weird lumps?
I did have to go and have.
Not you again. You've already been.
But I had a finger up my bum once, and that's what I went to the doctor for. I was like, "Can you remove this for?"
Boom.
No. I went, and it was a really, really attractive lady doctor, and I was like, "Oh no, oh god, this is going to be really embarrassing." And it was on International Women's Day, like a few years ago. So she popped me up on the couch, and she donned what I can only describe was a sandpaper glove. Right, there was just like it's fucking no lube. She didn't even spit on it, and it was just the most painful thing. And as she inserted it, I was this close to going, "Happy International Women's Day." It was fucking horrible. Do you know what? I bet it is as well. I bet it is. I
like M's photo to go with that. I bet it's syphilis.
Can we? Do you think we should give Rob permission to start building?
Are you waiting, Rob?
I was letting you get through the intro. At this point, I'm just kind of wondering what the hell I've got myself into.
The whole show is his intro. This is it now.
I just assumed you were going to start building. And to be honest, I'm not going to lie. I thought, wow, this story's really interesting because Rob isn't even building his Lego. He's just really focused on what I'm saying.
Yeah, so I just kind of sat here panicking about what the hell I've got myself into, really. I think that's probably a good point for me to actually switch over and start on the build.
I've
got no chance of finishing this otherwise.
Coming up, though, I've got a lovely section about paint drying, so to go with Rich's story. So that'll go nicely with his story about the doctors. Are you starting there, Rob?
Yeah, get started on this.
Good, man.
I love the
camera. It does look really cool. So how many bags did that Lego come in, dude?
If I remember rightly, it was 7 stages originally. Let's see if I can find the parts count on it.
How much part? I'm interested in your parts, Rob.
That's the one thing I forgot to check before we came on.
Well, no, you need to check your parts. That's exactly what we've been talking about.
It's very neat. You've got. I can see your 4 tires there. Look, you've got, and your 4 axles and your
foreskin.
Yeah, it's very.
Oh, hang on. If you get a bit closer, Rob, we'll be able to see your foreskin.
Oh dear. Yeah, I can't spot the part count at the moment. It looks like it was 4 parts altogether. It does go together fairly quickly. If anybody hasn't seen it, there's a few cool little features on there when it's done.
I was going to say,
I won't spoil what they are, so we can show it off a bit.
Cool. Yeah.
Do you want to? I got a picture of the. There you go.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Is there a Lego Daniel Craig with it? Is there a Lego Daniel Craig with it?
James Bond Lego.
No, they didn't actually put any Lego minifigures in with this set.
Really?
It's a shame. Yeah, it would have been nice to have a little Bond figure.
That really surprises me, actually.
They were going to do a Lego Bond game once, and it got too adult with Casino Royale, so they pulled the plug on the game. They were going to do a game. Yeah, it's going to be cool.
Not so surprised. I mean, Lego don't like stuff with guns, do they?
Last Bond game.
Yeah.
God, it'll be. It won't. I'm trying to think if.
There's been Bond games after GoldenEye, right? Because for me, there is only one Bond game, but
there were a load of PS3 games and stuff, Everything or Nothing and stuff like that. But
so just so you guys know,
we're
going to tell you how the week. We haven't got that far, have we?
Hang on a minute. There was some Daniel Craig Bond games. Definitely, they were a thingy one with. They did the last one. I know what it was. It was a game called 007 Legends. Right.
Oh, right.
And it was they took all the Bond films and put Daniel Craig into 4 of the ones he wanted in. So on Her Majesty's Secret Service, and they brought them out like that, and it was weird. It was like, what is this?
Sounds a bit weird.
Yeah, it wasn't so bad, but cool.
Live build, cool. What's Rob's favourite Lego set? And does he usually sing "Everything is awesome" when building?
You can hear him. Listen. Everything is
awesome. Man, I haven't heard that song for a few years, thank God. Actually, favourite Lego set I've got is probably the Saturn V, just because I love space stuff. It's for what it is. It kind of has a lot of detail. Again, it's one of the things I love about Lego. For something so simple, they get a lot of detail in there, especially with a bit of imagination as well. But yeah, Saturn V one. Although I do like the Lunar Lander as well. That's pretty cool. And well, I've got to say it, the Falcon. I don't like rubbing it in too much.
Well, that's the
big one. The big Falcon.
Yeah, the UCS one that they did.
It's clearly the biggest one you've got then.
I've just had a message from
Daniel Gaunt. Hello, Daniel.
Hey up, Daniel. How are you? See, that's exactly what I thought as well, but apparently not. No. Apparently not. Apparently it is just dehydration. Apparently it's just dehydration.
Gittins, I live off coffee. I don't really drink a lot of other liquid, to be honest. And my pea's lovely. You can drink. You can drink as much as you want now. You don't.
Maybe you've got a wider urethra than I have, and it just
I don't want to brag.
Passes through. Yeah. That's what they say. I heard that at college. Actually, that's what they used to say.
In the wide urethra.
Massive urethra.
Oh yeah, how was your week?
How was your week, Normie? What have you been up to this week?
I've got a 20-minute story about it, if you want. No, I went to get my jab today, my COVID jab. I didn't get the vaccine. I just got the COVID. I was like, hey, I want the other one that stops you getting it. They went, no, we've run out of them. No, apparently, if you've had pneumonia before, you can have the jab. I didn't know.
Nice.
I didn't
know you'd had pneumonia before, dude.
I have had bit before. I nearly died, Gittins.
Really? When was that?
I don't like to talk about it.
Yeah, it was.
When was it?
A while ago, you know.
It was before I knew you, right? Otherwise, I feel like a really shit friend.
No, it was. Yeah, you're a terrible friend. Webby knew all about it. You were there on my deathbed, holding me hand.
He insisted on it. Didn't he?
Yeah,
Didn't want to go without me.
No, seriously.
You come and watch me go.
And I said, "You stay away from the light. You stay away from the light." That's what I kept saying.
And then he fed me after midnight and got me wet.
Whoa. Yeah.
Wow. No, seriously. How old were you? How old were you, Lummy?
I can't remember. It was a while ago. But
were you older than a teenager?
Yeah.
Was it after college?
It was. I think we're still at college. I can't remember. I'll have to look through my diary.
Lummy nearly died, did we? Why didn't we do a Ferris Bueller thing for Lummy, like a Save Lummy thing around college?
Yeah, it was. It might have been after. It might be it were after college. Maybe just after college. But apparently, I had a massive. I don't want to go into this. I don't want a 10-minute story.
This is the problem with men's health these days. We don't want to talk about this shit. I know it's a geek show, but
it's a geek show. That's why I don't want to talk about it here.
Yeah, I know, but Lummy, but you don't never like talking about things that are too personal anyway.
Not on
but
a
it
geek
is.
Show. I want
But
to talk about
that's
Star Wars, man.
your geek show. God damn it! It's not okay. Well, let's. So there was this guy called Luke
Skywalker. I had a really high
Skywalker.
temperature and I was hallucinating. Is that what you want to hear? In ambulance.
Have you had any side effects? Have you had any side effects from the jab yet?
Not yet, but I'm feeling like
just so I can get this.
Which one did you have?
Apparently, you hallucinate about talking about stuff that's not to do with geeks.
God, he's just such
I'm
an
not sure
issue,
if Gittins can hear me or not.
I can. Sorry, Nathan.
Every time I open my mouth.
Sorry,
Webby. Go for it.
I was just gonna say, just so I can place this in my mind. Who were your girlfriend at the time? Then I'll know, like, when it. Who are you going out with then?
He is not gonna want to say this.
I honestly can't remember. It was a while ago.
Did it actually happen, Lummy?
Yeah.
No, we're actually spinning it down, and you're like, no, it happened. Otherwise, they're going to take the jab out of me again.
Well, I wouldn't have got the job if it hadn't have happened because they've been strict on it, aren't they? So
well, you could have been lying about it.
It was news to me. They had it on my records, you dickhead. You think they knew about it? I didn't just ring up and go, by the way, I've had one of these things that means I can get it. And they're like, which one? I went, the one that's spelt funny that nobody can.
Diarrhea.
Yeah. No, the other one. The newer one than that. Pneumonia. Yeah, that's the ticket. That one. And then I got in.
That's amazing.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you're all right now, mate.
Thanks.
Even though it was 20 years ago.
Thanks for that.
I'm really worried about it. It's not going to come back, is it?
No, it's fine. I'm all right now. But there's apparently the side effects from the jab come a couple of days, a day or two.
Which one did you have?
I had the AstraZeneca.
Zeneca.
That one.
Let's hope you didn't have the AstraZeneca one.
She went, we'll give you the Astra. I wonder why she was in an alley as well. She went, I'm a nurse, here's the AstraZeneca.
AstraZeneca sounds like a new character from Mandalorian or something.
AstraZeneca. What's the frozen one called?
Pfizer.
I have the Pfizer one. So if I'm all right and you're not all right, then we can,
have you had the jab?
Yeah, he has.
Anyway,
how have you had it? What's up with you?
Because I'm secretly 94 years old.
How did you have it? What happened?
I got it through work because I'm a key worker.
Oh, of course.
I got it through work
as well.
He's a locksmith.
Is Jo had it?
No, she can't have it yet. She's not allowed. She's too young and fit. And she hasn't had any diseases that we know of yet. So, yeah.
Apparently those with urinary tract infections can have it next as well.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, but they've got to have it in the bell end, right in the bell end.
Right in the bell end. Oh, God, could you imagine that?
No, come on.
Oh, my Lord.
So, this week, I, you guys have been recommending the Mission Impossible films to me, and I've really resisted because I have this just inbuilt hatred for Tom Cruise. It's ever since the dancing on the sofa on Oprah's show. Was it Oprah? I think it was, or the Ellen show or something like that. Ever since, and all the Scientology stuff, I'm just like, do you know what? Fuck this guy. I just can't stand him. And I've never, like, Jerry Maguire was probably the film that I thought he was probably the best in that I've seen. It was good, it's good in that film. But
You're
otherwise,
not a fan of Cocktail?
Not really, no. I'm genuinely not.
This is the problem with Tom Cruise. I'd really love
fan of a cocktail stick going.
No, come on. It makes me wince every time somebody says something.
So
like
anyway, I tried to watch him. Sorry, Webby, go for it.
Can't remember what we're going to say, guys.
So I tried to watch them yesterday.
The trouble with Tom Cruise is that he's done some really good movies. For me personally, I really love Vanilla Sky's great. Rain Man, awesome film.
Rain Man,
Rain Man is
most
awesome,
of the Mission Impossibles.
Few Good Men.
A Few Good Men. Yeah, he's great in that. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'd really like to hate him, but I don't.
I like
really
him.
I think he's all right. I don't hate anyone. I don't think.
Well, I thought I'd give the Mission Impossible films a go yesterday, and I started with the first one, and I just could not get into it at all.
But I mean, you are like 25 years later.
Totally, absolutely. It was 1996. But the way his character in that has evolved massively. So I went from that to the one that was in 2015, 2016. So the one where they had to, spoiler alert, had to kidnap the Prime Minister.
I can't remember it.
There's one Fallout,
Rogue Nation or something.
Rogue Nation. Yeah. So I watched that, and that was brilliant. That was so much fun. Like, really thoroughly enjoyed it. It was just a really fun, doesn't take yourself too seriously sort of film. But his character is completely different in that film compared to the first one. Like, so different. It's
but I mean,
so much more enjoyable.
The 6 films in between that sort of explain that, because storyline wise, a lot happens to the guy. You know, I mean. I really liked which one I liked. I liked number 2 when it came out. We talked about this the other day, didn't we? But it's a real good example of a franchise getting better as it goes along. It's weird. I can't think of any others that do that. Even Police Academy gets worse. I mean, I'm shocked that they still want to keep going with.
There's 7 and 8 coming out.
I know. There's another couple coming out. Yeah.
The guy's on the Christopher McQuarrie, is it, who directs them? He's a director the last couple. He's on Instagram, and he always puts really cool pictures up of them filming stuff. And they put one up the other day, and they're like, there was this big scaffolding going out off a mountain. You're like, what's he gonna do on this one? It's like crazy.
Was it Mission Impossible where Tom Cruise had that kind of where he had to go at the crew for the COVID? So they are filming one now then? Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, the one before as well, the last one we saw, was that the one with Henry Cavill in as well? Yeah. Yeah, there's some awesome fight scenes in that. Superman, Henry Cavill's in it with him. Kind of plays a bad guy kind of thing. But in that one, that's the one where he broke his leg, and they left the scene in the movie that he broke his leg in, jumping from a building to another building, and he smacks his leg against the wall and breaks his ankle, and he carries on going, carries on running, but they left it in the movie.
That's some Jackie Chan shit.
Was very fun.
Man. Mission Impossible 2. Mission Impossible 2 was noteworthy because it was directed by John Woo, right in the middle of all those big slow-motion gun battle face-off type action sequences. Okay. So that elevated it from just a kind of a jokey first Mission Impossible movie into something that's a little bit more action-based, and it just got a bit, I don't know, it's got a bit clever.
Have you seen the spoof of it that Ben Stiller did for the MTV Movie Awards? If you go on YouTube,
is that where he plays his suit? Plays his stuntman.
Yeah, it's so funny.
It's
great.
Fucking brilliant.
It's really funny. He goes in at one point, doesn't he? And he gets these 2 action figures. He goes, "I've got an idea." He's talking to John Woo. He goes, "What if they get to camera when they jump off the bikes?" And Tom turns to camera and goes, "Well, it looks like this mission just got a lot more impossible." And John Woo just goes.
What's really weird about it is
really funny.
In the skit, Ben Stiller is meant to be Tom Cruise's stuntman, isn't he?
Yeah.
And when he puts the sunglasses on, he almost looks identical to Tom Cruise. But they take him off. He's totally different. It's really weird. It's a good little scene. They did loads of little ones like that for.
Have you ever seen the Ben Stiller show? The actual.
Yeah, man. I think years ago.
Some good stuff on that. The Die Hard he does where he's in the shopping centre. It's really funny. He's in there and he's running out of one-liners. He's like, think that.
Hey, Rob, how you doing there? What you want? Oh, hello, hang on, Daniel.
I've had the jab because I had pneumonia in 2018. I was sat when for the 20s green-haired woman came in. I'd actually met a few years prior, very strange to myself. I thought, let's have a place. Anyway, the green-haired woman got sent away. She just turned up on the off chance to give her. Yeah, you'll get some chances.
Yeah, man. Survival of the
my hair green for
out my way, old lady.
Sorry, Rob. What are you working on at the minute? What part of the model are you building at the minute?
So it's mostly the main chassis at the moment. Obviously, gear sticks in at the moment. This is going to be floor plates by the looks of it.
Sexiest things.
All the fun stuff. Not a lot to see, but about 10% of the way through the steps at the moment. Just about to hit step 25.
Awesome.
It does. See
wow. That looks awesome. Do you know what? We should have stuck like a countdown clock on it or a timer or something to see how long it takes you to build it. Are there any stickers with this one, Rob?
There are a few bits that have got stickers on. Because it's been built already, they are already on there.
Right, how do you... But no, generally, is it universally accepted that we all fucking hate putting stickers on models or sticker books or anything like that?
Yeah.
It's just,
absolutely.
Have you seen those guys on the Lego channels on YouTube, Rob, that like use a giant fucking magnifying glass and a pair of tweezers to get the stickers perfectly on?
I have seen them. I'm not that perfect. I will not be doing close-ups of my stickers, unfortunately. Old age and not steady hands.
My eyes, man. It's my eyes. I can't see.
Yeah, and the eyes. I always think I put them on straight, and then when I look at them again afterwards, they're nowhere near.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen Tropic. I still haven't seen Tropic Thunder. I need to see that.
I like that comment. That's funny.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. So I watched that Lego guy, Nathan, that you told us about, who did the X-Wing and he restored it, the one that was like all like nicotine stained and all that.
Oh, no, he's not a Lego guy. He's a toy restorer.
Oh, that was it. Yes, that was it. Yes, it was just an X-Wing, and I saw him do the Millennium Falcon as well, and that was amazing. But
he puts in is just unbelievable.
But did you see the way he put the stickers on? They were perfect.
Yeah.
But it's like he took no care at all. It's like he just threw them, and they just landed perfectly on the model. Really, I was like, "You motherfucker!"
It's really weird.
Absolutely insane how accurate he was.
There's no point talking about my week. It's been pretty shite, except for the fact
decorating.
Yeah, I have, but I've been doing that much decorating that I've got like one. Hang on, it looks like my left arm, so I'm in reverse, but my right arm, it's like several sizes bigger than my other arm because I've just been rolling like that. But yeah, it's getting there. I've listened to some music though. That's the best thing about decorating for me is actually putting your albums on. I love a bit of Tropic Thunder.
Thank you. I'm gonna watch that tomorrow night. I'll watch that tomorrow night because I haven't seen it yet. Thanks.
So I'll tell you what I watched this week, guys, that we could probably talk about, which is interesting. I'm not saying I want to talk about. I think sequels nobody asked for that nobody wanted. This week I watched Coming to America.
Right on cue.
I made it through it. Don't ask me what. I just made it through it. It was all right, but I mean, I have never seen a film with so many fucking callback jokes in it. Every odd line was a line from the first. It didn't even have any context. They were just like, "Oh yeah, we said something about McDowell's, so we'll say." Do you know what I mean? It was so contrived, but it made me think like, who's making these decisions about what films are getting sequels 30 or 40 years later that nobody asked for? And it's just baffling me a bit. And what's even weirder is some of them work for me, like Blade Runner. I don't know what you thought about Blade Runner 2049, Girdler, but I'm a massive fan of the first one. Didn't need a sequel, didn't want it. I had really heavy expectations that it was going to be terrible, and I absolutely loved it. I loved it.
See, I'm still far behind. Yeah, I mean, the first film, it's a classic. But I have not actually seen 2049 yet.
I would say take a punt on it, man.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people out. There's a guy I work with, and he's seen it. And as far as I remember him, he said it was a really, really good film.
Yeah, it's an excellent film,
everything I've heard about it is good, but yeah, there's always just that worry when you remember the first one, how good it is. Can it stand up to it?
But you are me. 5 minutes before I went into that cinema, I was thinking exactly the same thing. Yeah. Please don't ruin it. Why am I here? Why am I even bothering? How can it be anywhere near as good? And it just is. For me, it's like Blade Runner. The first Blade Runner is in LA, isn't it? He's just set in LA in a really dark city. And in the second one, it's just like they just turn the widescreen on and the world becomes bigger. It's not change. It's just watch it and see what you think. As a fan, I think you might be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely on the list of stuff to watch. I will give it a go at some point. Just need to get around to it.
On that note, feel free to skip Coming to America if you want to stay an hour and 40 minutes of your life.
Martin's just said Snyder Cut Justice League on Sky this
week. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man.
That'd be good. Well, I say it'll be good. I say that'll be good. It would be good to see how different it is. How
it'd be good to talk about it on here, won't it? And rip it to pieces if it needs ripping to pieces, or
Speaking of sequels that kind of whether they need making or not. I mean, we were talking about Crocodile Dundee the other week. Actually, that is a film that did not need a sequel or a third sequel or potentially a fourth one either. But the second and third ones, I haven't seen the third one yet. But you guys were saying it's pretty good.
It's great.
Yeah, but that's unexpected for a film like that to come up with two pretty good sequels, because the first one was great, but it'd have been great as a standalone film, wouldn't it?
Short Circuit 2, fantastic.
Yeah, that's
what
true.
What did you say, Lumb?
Short Circuit 2.
Short Circuit 2, that's what you're going with.
Great film.
That was a sequel that came out straight after the first movie. They didn't wait 30 years for that one.
I know. I'm just thinking, what films would you say no to no sequel? We all know Back to the Future. Never do a sequel to that anymore.
A fourth one, no.
If I could, what would I stop them fucking around with?
Yeah. What would you say? Oh, I touched that and you've had it. I'm worried they're going to start messing about with Trading Places next and things.
Oh, that was in Coming to America as well. There was a little link to it, wasn't there? Yeah.
Hang on, we got that Coming to America is good because it made you want to watch the first one.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, if
that's what they're using it for, then great. Yeah.
What did you Lummy, have you seen it?
Yes.
What did you think?
It was really hard to get through it. I was pretty bored, man. I've got to say, and I hate saying that because I adore Eddie Murphy, as you know. But I also think this isn't really spoiling it. Eddie Murphy's he's hardly in it, really.
Well,
to me, it was. I was like, where's the fun of the first one? Where is it?
They just forgot to. Yeah, I mean,
weird.
It's weird, guys.
I didn't hate it. I just got a bit bored.
It, see what you think, because there's something.
I
struggled the first time I tried to watch it when it came out the first day, and I got 20 minutes in. I was like, "What? This is really."
I mean, without spoilers, I think the plot of it doesn't work, and it didn't need. There's a better idea in there. And I could tell you what I think that better idea would have been, but it'd have to go into heavy spoilers. So maybe we'll talk about that on another show, maybe. But
I don't know. Does anybody out there give a shit if we spoil a film that nobody really cares about? I mean, I figure that people who really want to see this movie would have probably found a way of watching it by now.
They had a really good thing they could have done with it. But I mean, that's only my opinion, innit, of what they could have done with it. But the reviews, I've been watching a lot of reviews online, and all of them are pretty bad, really.
You know, I watched Mark Kermode review it the other day, and he didn't shit all over it. It was really weird. He said, look, it is what it is. There's a lot of callbacks in this movie, but essentially, I was like, are we watching the same fucking movie, man?
It's just, it's a real odd one to bring it out so long afterwards, and then, I mean, it happened with Indiana Jones 4, didn't it? You wait that long, and you think, oh, here we go again.
Basically, if you've been like me and Lummy waiting, I don't know what the last movie Eddie Murphy did that was any good was before My Name is Dolomite. But if you've been waiting that long to see him in a movie and you want him to watch him in a good movie, watch My Name is Dolomite. It was really good.
Well, really, really director, good. I think, as well.
It is,
director,
I think that's how it's happened, hasn't it? They've started talking about the potential of a sequel, what would you do, and But I mean, it really was its lowest common denominator all the time. So, for instance, there's a scene where you find out they opened a McDowell's in Africa, and Cleo from the original McDowell's is there, as well as the guy, I can't remember his name, they just call him Fat Boy all the time. He's still there. And they've released a veggie burger, and they're all sitting around having a munch on this McDowell's veggie burger. And I'm like, is this where we are? We're taking the piss out of vegetarianism.
It was very odd. There was
really odd stuff it tastes like grass and stuff. I'm like, what? This isn't a joke.
The characters as well seemed a bit shoehorned into it, didn't they? Like, why would they be there? Well, like you just said, then the McDowell's. Why would that guy who works in the New York McDowell's, why the hell would he be in there? Even on the grand opening, you won't fly him out to Zamunda, would you? You just have it, And
all they needed to do was put a couple of lines in the movie to explain that. So if you remember the character of Cleo, is the dad of the girl that Eddie Murphy ends up marrying.
Yeah,
he's greedy, and he wants her to marry a prince. So there is an explanation there, but tell us that in the movie. Say, well, I'm here because I wanted to live in this fucking giant palace with my daughter and just live it up. But they didn't do that. You're right. It's just there.
It was very odd, and do you know what always gets me when they go back into another film and they kind of mess around with that film, and they do it in this one in a big way with the storyline, don't they? I don't want to give it away if people haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But they go back and they basically mess with the events of the first film. You're like, I don't like it when they do that. I think there's always a different way to do it, because it actually shits a little bit on the first film with that.
Yeah,
think,
I agree.
Yeah. I don't know, but it wasn't awful. It was just a hard watch because I don't know. I wanted.
It's like it's got the sensibilities of comedies from the 80s, which it needed, which is that anything can happen and you don't have to explain everything. But the simplest thing to do would be to DNA test this kid straight away to see if he is, instead of wondering whether he is and like training him up to be the next Prince of Zamunda. Like I was just like, why don't you just do a paternity test?
Yeah. There's always a simple way. It's like with sitcoms, isn't it? Which we'll be talking about later anyway, sitcoms. But it's like when sitcoms, when something happens where somebody could just turn around and say something to sort it out straight away. And they don't, they have half an hour episode to here we go.
And now we've hit this age of comedy, of television where some people who write the TV shows have figured out that what the audience are least expecting is for them to actually explain it. It happens a lot in, what am I watching at the minute? American Gods. They actually tell you what they're doing. There's a lot of exposure about, why things are happening. It's interesting.
Oh, hey up. Terry's figured out technology.
Hey up, Terry.
Hello, Terry. You all right?
Hey.
Finished breaking cars and everything. I said Terry, not Siri. Why is Siri getting... I said Terry. Stupid.
Not Siri.
Siri.
Are you all right, Terry? I think she must be at home. She's on.
Coming to America, not too good. I mean, as for sequels that are coming out, there are one or two. I think we are looking forward to. Indiana Jones, probably one of them. Ghostbusters. There's still a hope for some of these. For some of these to be good.
Have we got any? Go on, Lummy.
Oh, I was just going to say, I managed to find what we were after, the episode 9 script.
Oh yeah,
I managed to get hold of it.
Nice.
I'd love us to do a reading of that one week if we didn't get sued. That'd be awesome.
Do it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
We said we were going to do it in parts, maybe, didn't we? We'd dish out the parts to everybody.
Yeah,
Rob would be up for some reading, wouldn't you, Rob?
Yeah, I'll be up for a bit of that.
Yeah, Rob, how are you doing with the model down there? What's going on?
Not too bad. Getting through some of it. Just struggling to find a piece at the moment. It must be here somewhere because I only took it apart earlier.
You see, this is the beauty of Lego.
That goes in
This is the beauty of Lego, and this is how I always kind of justify it. It is just like a 3D jigsaw puzzle, and finding that missing piece is part of that experience. So, good luck.
Unless you
Good luck
don't
with
find
that,
it, and then it's just like, well, where the fuck is it?
Now I've just got a hole in the middle of my.
I don't know about you.
I put it on here not 3 hours ago. So where the is it?
This is going to be amazing if the next hour is just Rob trying to find one bit.
Yeah,
like, join us next week. See how Rob does on his Aston Martin.
I tell you what, though, Rob. On a serious note, consistency-wise, I've never had a set of Lego that's had a missing piece or a duplicate piece. I don't know how they do it so fastidiously in the fucking factories. I've never had a missing bit.
I had loads of extra bits in this.
You get extra bits, but they give you the smallest bits you've got. They'll give you a few extras of them because they know that people are going to fucking drop them, lose them. Kids are going to
Speaking of it, Terry's admiring your bits, Rob.
I know, it's amazing.
Hey, Terry,
I don't want to have a go on Rob's bits. Yeah. That's what Lego looks like, Terry, when you take it out of the fucking box and build it.
We've got, I missed this.
We've got any more comments?
We're talking about sequels. Back when I was a kid, I was really excited for Supergirl 2, still waiting.
Yeah.
Oh, weird, that emoji looks like Iron Man crying.
Oh, sorry.
Actually, though, you did get, to be fair, you did get an entire series of Supergirl, though. I know it was a few years later than you wanted to wait, but there's a Supergirl series in there. From what I know, it's doing pretty well.
It's a new, absolutely.
Thought Coming to America was a fun romp, nothing that's going to blow your face off.
No, that's true.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you do know what you're getting into, and it just reminds you that you're not a kid anymore and all that shit that they got away with in the first movie.
So should we always have low expectations for any sequel? Should we always go into watching a sequel with lower expectations than the first one, so that we're managing our expectations, so we come out?
I don't think my expectations of this movie could have been lower. So on that point, it was all right. Do you know what I mean? It was all right. It was watchable. I made it through to the end. I was just waiting for a funny joke or something. The story wasn't that bad. There were some quite funny-ish moments in it, but yeah, I was just waiting for something. Batwoman as well, yeah.
I've not seen Batwoman.
But they just changed Batwoman, didn't they, from the first series? I don't know what happened, but the first girl who was playing Batwoman left, and they've got a new Batwoman now. But yeah, I've not seen either of them. Since Gotham, I've not watched any DC TV shows.
I watched the first episode of that. Is it Superman and Lois?
Lois.
Oh, is that out again?
Yeah, I watched the first episode of that. I thought that was quite well done because he actually did all the origin story in like the first. He just got it over with. We're like, wow, okay.
Oh, okay.
It seemed pretty
I forgot that was coming out actually, but I might have to.
I don't know. I think they had it as a preview on one of the YouTube channels, like
But I can never figure out why. Superman. No, but I can't figure out why Superman only really works on a small screen. I had no problem with the new adventures of Lois and Clark or anything like that. Smallville. I never watched most of Smallville, but what I did watch,
Payne, wasn't
it? In the first, in the Lois and Clark, Lois and Clark one. But for me, Superman seems to work better for everyone when he's on a smaller screen. I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know why.
I mean, if you'd seen it on the big screen, though, the first film, you'd believe a man could fly, Webb. So
maybe if I watched it in 1970 odd when it came out, I might have done then. But I don't think I would now. In fact, I didn't when I first saw it when I was a kid. I was like, "That's a guy on a rope. What's going on here?"
Crow's had 3 sequels in the TV series.
That's true.
That's very true. That's
Dark true. City is an absolutely excellent film, and I do think they could get away with remaking something like that because I don't know, because technology's kept up, and it can,
We'll ignore this one.
Oh,
you son of a bitch, Lummy.
Are you still not built that?
No, it's too big.
He's too busy.
What? It's too big.
Why don't you start a podcast that's just about building Lego, just so you build it? That's what you should do.
Yeah, exactly. That's true.
You haven't started a podcast for like 35 minutes.
It's about the only thing that you haven't got.
Rob Popple.
Yeah,
Rob.
That's true.
I like that name, Popple.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
I kind of agree with what you're saying there, but I think Marvel have just found that golden vein, haven't they, of how to keep things interesting, and DC
they've got
not kept up with the consistency.
We talked about this last week.
Yeah.
They've got one person overseeing it all. It's
But there has been a massive shift from the Netflix Marvel stuff to to what's being produced now by Disney. There's a massive difference.
Yeah, but there is in the comics as well, man.
Yeah. No, of course.
Generally, people think of DC Comics as a little bit more highbrow and a little bit more dark than Marvel. Yeah, so you've got like all the really dark Batman sagas and the Frank Miller stuff. Generally people think it's a little bit more intellectual than Marvel, and Marvel's more fun. But it works the other way around in the movies world for some reason. Marvel, going from strength to strength, and DC are just pissing all over their amazing properties.
It's crazy, isn't it?
What's this? Movie news I like this week. New Line doing Classified with John Wick director. Yeah.
Die Hard meets Indiana Jones.
Interesting.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Oh wow, sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Cool, interesting, man. Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah. Did anybody watch Arrow? Did you watch Arrow?
No, I didn't.
We watched a little. We got about 4 series into that. We're all right, but then, I think we did 5, and then he went. I've been on the island for 5 years. You think, all right, 5 series, here we go, it's done. And then he went, but then I've got another 4 series in me. Like what?
The only DC ones I've really took the time to watch just because they worked for me. Inexplicably, Gotham. That shouldn't work, but it did.
Oh, that was great. Yeah,
it's a great, it's great TV. And the other one was Titans, based on the Teen Titans.
What are you predicting anything? We were going to talk a little bit about Falcon and Winter Soldier, weren't we?
Yeah, that's coming. I mean, again,
is that next Friday that starts?
Yeah, it is. Starts next Friday,
19th or something, or 16th.
Yeah, no, it's next Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. I think I'm actually looking forward to the Snyder Cut much more than that. I don't know why. I just want to see what he originally had in mind for it all. I'm not going to watch Justice League first and then compare them, because you don't need to. It was a piss poor movie. I can't be bothered watching it again.
Yeah.
But I am interested to see what they're gonna do.
A bit of something here that I found really funny, and loads of people have been taking piss out of it on the internet, right? Star Wars, this High Republic series they've done. They just announced a new character this week, and I thought this were a joke, right? Have a look at this. That character on the right, that's a character called Geode, and it's a lump of rock. And this is a proper character in the new High Republic thing. And I thought,
what is this? Is this a game or a show?
It's a comic book series, you know, they're doing all this High Republic stuff. And it's like, what is this? And it is just a rock.
What we should do is we should get Rob on one week to build its Lego version.
But it's like, what?
Does it speak, Lumb?
I don't know. I couldn't find much out about it. I thought it were a joke, but then...
Well, put the picture back up. It doesn't even look like a good rock.
No, I mean? It looks like the rock that Nick Clegg wrote his Labour pledge in 2015.
Somebody in the comments might know more about this, but this is what came out. And then the ship behind her and the rock is called something like Vessel. That's what they could come up with for the name of the ship. You're like, what? It's as if they're trying to just ruin everything. It's weird. It's just like, why?
I don't understand. Does the rock talk? Has it got a lightsaber?
I wanted to show you. I came up with my own Star Wars character inspired by this, because I thought, you know, if anybody can do
go for it, yeah. Now's the time.
Did you see that?
No.
Oh, it's a shoe.
Jedi Master tennis shoe.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's good. I like it.
Nice.
Hey, man, you got a shot with that. You got a shot.
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm going to submit it to Lucasfilm. Yeah.
Should we do some best and worsts?
Yeah, let's do it. So this week, as we said earlier on, I challenged Webby and Lummy to come up with their best and worst sitcoms. So let's go to Webby first this week. Webby, what's your best sitcom?
Okay, right. I had to break this down in my brain, because for me, there's a world of difference between American sitcoms and British sitcoms, right? So if we were going British sitcom, Fawlty Towers all the way, never been beaten, never fucking will. 13 episodes, done. Boom. Best jokes ever. Brilliant. Now, I didn't go English, so I thought you guys were going to go American. So I picked The Office, the American Office. The reason I picked it is because I was all ready to hate this fucking show so much before I watched it. I mean, Gittins will tell you, nearly every night I tell Gittins he should probably watch this because he's bored. Well, you got to give it a go.
Never seen it?
This show,
I've seen, not really.
Dude, everybody keeps going, yeah, I saw the English Office. I kind of get it. I'm like, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I said the same thing. Didn't even really enjoy the English Office that much. It was all right. It was way before I really liked Ricky Gervais. Didn't like the character of David Brent. But there's something about the way the Americans handle this. It's fucking brilliantly done. It's really funny. Steve Carell is cringy as hell. He's meant to be, but he's also brilliant in it. Absolutely brilliant. This show won me over from about season 2 onwards, and then I was in.
It's funny you say that. Do you know they changed his character, didn't they? Steve Carell after the first series.
Yeah, they moved it about a bit. They made him less abrasive, didn't they?
Yeah. It worked really well.
I thought you said they made him less racist. I was like, yeah, I mean, that's probably
he is racist.
A good way to go.
There's a whole episode where they have to get an expert. This is really early on. They have to get an expert on racism into the office because Steve Carell's character, Michael Scott, has come in one day and he's quoted the last thing he watched on TV last night, which happened to be the Chris Rock bit about him being in a queue at the bank. And when you're in a queue at the bank, I won't go into the bit because I'm going to do what he did. But basically, this expert has to come in and explain why it's racist and la 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 la. And he just can't, in the nicest way possible. He's like, look, you're messing up the bit. That's not what he does. So he just repeats it again in front of this HR guy. You know, he just makes it even worse. And it's just brilliantly done, man. But it's not just about him. Like, he becomes a lesser character and you fall in love with other people in the office.
I think you're right. And the cast there, look, I mean,
Absolutely brilliant. Dwight Schrute, I mean, absolutely amazing. The guy with the glasses down there, Rich. He's the office nutcase who lives on a beet farm, and he's a bit weird and a bit Mormon-y and a bit like Pennsylvania.
He's the kind of Gareth kind of character, or is it?
Yes,
okay.
Yeah, they've still got that relationship. There's Dwight often is the victim of pranks by Jim, who's John Krasinski, who's now like the fucking director and doing really well. He's in what's that? He's in Jack Ryan. Yeah, Jack Ryan.
Oh, really? Yeah, Jack Ryan's brilliant. Yeah, I really like it. It's great.
A Quiet Place. He's a great actor, and apparently he's tipped to play Reed Richards in the upcoming Fantastic Four movie.
Really?
But he's a decent director, this guy as well. He's married to Emily Blunt, which is really weird. Yeah, man.
I've not seen the UK version. Wowzers! That was nearly my pick. That was actually up there for my best one. But cool.
But yeah, for me, the American Office was massively surprising. It did about 9 series, and like at least 7.5 of those series are really, really good. Gets a bit weak.
There's one in the middle, isn't there? What seems to dip a bit, if I seem to remember. I think series 6 or something, or 7.
Off the top of my head, the guest stars in this that pop up. You've got Ricky Gervais pops up in there. You've got Jim Carrey. You've got David Spade. There's just fucking tons and tons of people. Kathy Bates ends up in it. Loads and loads. Catherine Tate's in it, yeah. What's Andy Bernard? Andy Bernard is a character in The Office who comes in a couple of seasons in, who's like now really famous. Ed Helms, the guy from The Hangover and Vacation, it's just good. It's good stuff. Mindy Kaling became a writer off the back of this. So did BJ Novak. He's a writer and producer.
They wrote the show though, didn't they, as well?
Yeah, they were producing that, but they've also got their own stuff as well afterwards. So yeah, it's just
cracking. It's really well cast.
It's really well cast. Great value for money. Every episode's got a laugh in it. The only thing you do think when you're watching it is how many fucking days off do these guys get? They never do any work. It would be a boring show if you were actually watching people working in the office. They're always having a day out, a picnic, or a trip out, or some special event happening. But it's just a good comedy. It's got a lot in common with things like Parks and Rec, which is written by a lot of the same people, directed by a lot of the same directors, got some of the same cast in it. It's just my favourite American sitcom.
Nice. And what about your worst one?
My worst one, I picked. I've got a worse one, but somebody else picked it. So in fairness, I've had to.
Sorry about that.
It's all right. I just couldn't think of anything else.
Oh, we've all got the same worst one as the person.
Sorry. Do you know what? I wasn't. Do you know what I was thinking about this today, Lummy? I wasn't sure if you. Sorry, Nate. If you were going to like the one that I picked as worst.
What?
Yeah, no, genuinely, I thought maybe you would like this.
That, mate.
No.
You don't know me, good sir. Good night.
I said good night.
Sorry, Webby. What's your worst
one? I had to think outside the box because the best worst one were taken. So I thought I remember this one. It used to just really
taken the sitcom.
It's gimme. I can never remember.
Gimme.
Okay. I hated it. I absolutely hate it. I thought the jokes were the lowest common denominator. Absolutely just filthy and smutty in the wrong kinds of ways. I'm not a massive fan of it at all. I really, 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 really love Kathy Burke. I think she's a fucking fantastic actress. But this show was absolute piss poor, and I tried to watch it.
I think she was trying to best it, wasn't she? From what I remember,
it wasn't her fault. It was the script and stuff. It just wasn't a good.
That guy in it, James Dreyfus, weirdly follows me on. Follows me on Twitter. Weirdly, and I have absolutely no idea why. I've never mentioned him, never referenced him or anything like that. But just little blue tick. James Dreyfus follows me on Twitter.
Tonight he might not, since I've just
do
you know what got me with that guy? Right? Have you seen Notting Hill?
Yeah.
Right, he's in that with Hugh Grant, right? And this is my pet hate in movies, right? See if you agree with me here. Where somebody has a drink, right? Say that there. I've got that cup empty, right? And you can tell they're drinking from an empty cup. It's my pet hate. And in Notting Hill, he does it. He's got an orange juice, like little thing of orange juice, and there's nothing in it. You can tell, and he goes, "Do you want another one?" And you're like, "Put something in it."
Yeah. It's like GCSE drama when people used to get out of a car and then close the door and then walk through the car that they just got out, and you're like,
You know, I've a lot of pet hates, but the one that pisses me off the most at the minute is in movies or TV where you see somebody getting pissed. They have a drink and then they get a phone call and they fucking sober up like that. Do you know what I mean? Now I've got to go back to work or I've got to get in the car. And all of a sudden, it really pisses me off. Also, people talking when they're driving the car like that to the passenger. I'm like, look at the road. They're like, I'm like, well, now I know you're not really in a car driving.
We've got a bit of American Office, So Addictive, also Idris Elba.
Is it really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude, honestly, the cameos in this are insane. Some people are in it for 2 minutes and that's it.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Jim Carrey's in it on the end credits at one episode, isn't it? Literally end
And in
credits.
one of them, Michael Scott comes out of an elevator and he bumps into David Brent, and they don't know each other, but they have a weird connection because they're both managers. It's fucking brilliant when they meet each other. Absolutely brilliant. Both fully in character.
That's cool.
It's
that
great.
Sounds funny.
And Michael Scott has also got the best running joke in any sitcom, and it's so simple. So simple. And anybody that's seen the show will probably know what I'm going to say. That's what she said. That's what she said.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And it comes up all the time, even in the last episode, and it's just perfect. It's just like works so well.
There's so many good things in it. Honestly, Rich, you need to watch it, man. If you've not seen it,
I will go at some point.
Get past the first season. I can understand why people might watch the first season and go.
It was,
but once,
you know what?
Well, I just thought
like 6 episodes in the first series as well, weren't there?
But that's the thing.
Like
the UK office. The UK office for me was just so perfect. It didn't go on for too long. It finished exactly when it should have done. It was just a perfect package. The specials that they did, amazing. It just, and it's actually the same with extras. And I know, it's about to shoot a 3rd season of Afterlife. But what was the other one he did?
Unusual for Ricky Gervais.
Derek as well. Just finished beautifully.
And
just really packaged.
Too short as well.
That was amazing. I forgot all about that.
Dude, Life's Too Short has got my favourite fucking Liam Neeson bit ever. Where Liam Neeson goes to Ricky Gervais's office and he's like, I've decided I want to be in comedy, and it's just the funniest fucking scene ever as he's trying to show his comedy chops off.
Greengrocer.
Yeah, that was great.
What about you, Lummy? What was your favourite sitcom?
All right, you'll hate me, but I'm going for it. I've thought about this long.
I could never hate you, Lummy.
Again, Webb's is a great choice. The Office, UK Office, and that. But I thought I've got to go old school. I've got to go for my absolute favourite. Do you want to have a guess?
Only Fools and Horses.
Like fucking On the Buses or one of them shits.
Rob, can you guess my favourite sitcom?
I can't actually. Go on.
It's kind of Reginald Perry.
God, I hadn't even thought of that in years.
You know, I wasn't even funny in the 80s, man.
Christ.
Lummy.
I'll do it like in the show where it pops up a few times. There you go.
That's beautiful. I can't believe nobody picked Friends. Well, we haven't seen what Gittins picked yet, but I thought somebody were going to. I nearly went Friends for money wise.
Can I just say?
Yeah. Of course you can. Let's talk about Heidi High. Yeah. Let's go for it.
Talk about IDI.
Heidi High.
I mean, this for me, right? We're talking old school. I remember watching this as a kid and loving it. This is why I went for it.
That's always a test of a good comedy if you like it when you're 6 years old.
Sunday afternoon, right? The reason I like it. Look at this cast you've got here. Look, here we go.
It's awful.
No,
they all look like
no. The cast is great. The cast is great.
So you've got. I mean. The thing I like about IDI, right? All these people are down on the luck. All of them. They're all in this place because they can't do what they want to do. That's why they're there. Yeah. And I love it. I love that. I love that they're still trying. That's why I love this so much. And the writing, it's a little bit dated now, obviously, but it was set in the 50s anyway when it was filmed in the 80s. Set in the 50s, you know.
Was it? Like Dirty Dancing?
59, I think the first series was set in 1959, and then it went on.
I had no idea. I didn't realise.
Yeah, but it's the catchphrases and the characters, and you know, Sue Pollard as Peggy wants to be Yellowcoat all the way through it. 9 series they did, 9 series.
Wow.
You know, it's I just love it.
I used to watch it when I was a kid, man, but that's where it belongs.
In your opinion, only in your mind by young Padawan.
When was the last time you watched an episode of it, Lummy?
I watched all 9 series about 2 months ago.
10 minutes ago.
Wow.
I watched it. It's something though. Do you know where you have that thing where you think I'll put one on just to cheer myself up a bit? You know.
Sweet.
No, that's not something. Wow.
You never do that. Do you not ever go to film where you think I'll put that?
Not with Heidi High.
Groundhog Day is another one where you stick that film on and you think I'll just enjoy myself a bit.
Do you know what?
That's a film I wouldn't want a sequel of, by the way. That's a film I probably wouldn't want a sequel of. I was thinking, I nearly mentioned it earlier, but
do you know there's a video game sequel to Groundhog Day?
Really?
Virtual reality Groundhog Day 2, Son of Bill.
Son of Groundhog Day.
Wow.
Son of a bitch.
Son of a
Groundhog Day 2, son of a bitch. But anyway, back to Heidi High. Right, so but you've got the guy in the middle, Jeffrey Fairbrother. Look, he was the camp host. He moved there from Oxford to blend in with these people who were a little bit lower class, and it just all works. It's really good. It's really good.
Paul McShane, like properly working men's clubbing it up all the way through.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, what was your worst one, Lummy?
My worst one was one called. I don't know if you've heard of this before. It was called Big Top.
No.
Right now, this.
Oh, hang on. When was that? Is it the 80s?
There was one series. I think maybe late 80s, early, or might be a bit later actually. I should have done a bit of research on this, but I just remember watching it, and I'll tell you what. Right. So the cast: you've got Amanda Alden, then you've got you've got Ruth Maddock out of Heidi High, and then you've got Tony Robinson there. And what it was basically about a travelling circus. Now, the guy who wrote it was a massive fan of Heidi High and the Perry and Croft sitcoms. By the way, Heidi High was written by, the Dad's Army guy and the, all that business. So anyway, but he was a massive fan of them types of shows, and he tried to do it with this. And I was at a writer's thing at the Comedy Store in Manchester where he did a talk, and he said it was a complete failure. He wrote this thinking it was going to be amazing, and it just fell at every level. And he admitted that when he was, this guy brought it up, and he had to go into it and say why it had failed and that. So, fair play to the guy for trying to do it. But yeah, there's episodes on YouTube, and it's really like misses the mark. So that for me, I nearly picked another one if I've got time to say about it.
Yeah, of course.
Did you guys ever see a David Jason thing called The Royal Bodyguard?
No.
Right, it was and again it fell under sitcom because I actually did a Google and thought, worst sitcoms to get some ideas of what I could go for. And this came up, The Royal Bodyguard, and it was about David Jason as a bodyguard to the Queen. It was terrible, absolute, awful, slammed in the ratings.
Wow, yeah, I can imagine.
So I nearly picked that because I had seen all of that as well. So anyway.
What about you, Rob? I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but have you got a best and worst sitcom?
Without going through some of the stuff you guys have already done, probably one of my favourites for an old one would be Red Dwarf.
Oh, yeah.
You see, now I did think about Red Dwarf.
Yeah, it's up there. I mean,
the only problem with Red Dwarf...
no IDI, but it's...
Yeah, the problem with Red Dwarf is consistency, isn't it? Is that point where up until about season 6, it's still really, really good, and then all of a sudden it goes all fucked.
The worst one, Red
does
Dwarf,
get a bit weird
down.
There.
What about the episode where they went to Coronation Street and all that crap? Do you remember?
Yeah, that's kind of... What is it?
I newish.
I think that's technically season 8. Yeah. But yeah, they did that 2 or 3-parter that was there. Yeah, that's definitely not their strongest moment.
They did that. Tell you what, they meet the creators, which I'm never a fan of that. They did it with League of Gentlemen movie, where they meet the people who made the thing.
Yeah. Right,
I always think it's a cop out. That
I tell you what, though, Red Dwarf wise, the last season they did where they had the original writers and directors back on board, and they were back on Red Dwarf, was fucking great. It was like season 10 or something.
I think
I just realised we've got a lot of comments here.
I might have even seen. Is there another series since then, Rob?
So there's 12 series altogether, and then they did last year the Promised Land, which was another little TV. I think it was 2 parts. It was on over the bank holiday last Easter, which is going back to Cat's origin.
I'm going to have to find some of these. I've not seen them all.
So seasons. So it's. Hang on, have a look at this. Back to Earth is basically where season 9 would be. As you say, 6 and 7 are about where it gets a bit dodgy. Back to Earth, which is the Coronation Street season 9. 10, 11, 12 is when he comes back a few years later. Well, a few years ago, but several years after the originals. That's the point where it starts hitting home again, and it is just like watching the originals.
It's great, yeah. It really
I said the Promised Land they did last year, which is the cat backstory, which ties right back to the very first episode of season 1. Is really well done. But it's a chance for Cat to sort of take the lead and be. He always does. One of the great things I liked about it, it was very much an ensemble cast. They all had their part. It wasn't specifically about Lister or about Rimmer. Yeah. Everybody had their chance to come and shine on it. And I said to me, I sat there, I watched the whole lot from 1 to 12 last year.
Did you ever read them?
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Did you ever read the books?
I've not read the books. No, I've only ever seen the TV series.
You should read the original books, man. They're just like the first few series. There's a lot of stuff taken from those, but they're really good, man. Going into depth about it.
We saw them, didn't we, Rob, at that Sci-Fi Scarborough? Do you remember when we went there?
Yeah, there was Craig Charles was missing, but it was right, Robert Llewellyn, Chris Barry, and Danny John Jules were there for that. Yeah. Which is cool because I never got the chance to meet him up close, but it was nice to actually sit and listen to him and hear some of the stories.
What was that show? What was that show on a Sunday afternoon, like Sunday evening, that had Robert Llewellyn up? I think it's Robert Llewellyn.
Scrapyard Challenge.
Yeah, Scrapyard Challenge.
Yeah, that was amazing. I used to love that. It used to blow my mind that was him.
We've got some more comments.
I've
got a bit slow on them because I was talking about IDI. Right, so we've got Pop Not Brox, Duty Free. Do you remember that?
I loved Duty Free when I was a kid. That was great. When I was a kid, that was brilliant.
It was good, that.
I don't really know why I understood it.
Yeah. Hang on a minute. Why? So is that a good one or a bad one? It's just, are they saying that as a favourite or a worst?
You'll have to tell us, Pop Not Brox, do you like it or hate it? We got a few.
When I was a kid, I liked it. And I don't know why.
I liked it. I always thought there were two couples, weren't there? Were always having an affair with the other partners. Why don't they just get together and they'd be sorted?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly.
Instead of having 9 series, just get together in the first one. Anyway, Big T More, Heidi Ho.
Yeah.
Thanks. Friends for me, Terry. Yeah. What, you want some friends or you like friends?
Friends for me, please.
Are you going to ignore the bit where Terry, your girlfriend, has put a comment? I'm amazed that Lily has a girlfriend.
I'll get to that. I'm going down in order. Once I hate it at first, but British Empire.
British Empire. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I thought that one.
Me too. Yeah, I like that.
Now, Carol, should we go? Yes, this is British.
Yeah.
And
Mr. Britas.
And his wife, who was just always off her face.
Yeah.
Just totally not interested in him at all. Yeah, it was good.
What was the Colin on it? Now Colin.
Yeah.
Not
that. I'll tell you what I've missed. I don't know if it's this is the other thing we didn't
get off our chat.
We didn't discuss this, but I didn't know whether things like Alan Partridge would have counted because Alan Partridge wasn't a sitcom. So we got different things that, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
do you know what? I'd say Alan Partridge is a sitcom.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Because it's got a continuing narrative that goes through.
Yeah, I just picture a Cosby Show style set for a sitcom.
Well,
do you know what I mean?
Alan Partridge was filmed in front of an audience, all of it. You know, even
really, I didn't realise that.
Even the Linton. I thought the Linton.
How the hell did you do that when he was out in the open? I don't know.
I think the Travel Lodge series was as well. I'm sure it was on a set. I don't know.
I don't know, man. Anyway, okay. But yeah, there were things that I didn't want to pick from the wrong pool.
No, that's fine. I mean, for me, it was difficult because obviously there's the UK Office and there's Peep Show as well, which is just an awesome series. But I just decided to go for something that didn't make me kind of hide behind a pillow whilst watching it for the entire time. And so I went with Brushstroke. No, I didn't. I went with the In-Betweeners. In-Betweeners, man. 2 seasons. Not a bad episode. Brilliant, but I'm in the middle of talking about my best series, so shut the fuck up. So in between,
just wait and finish the comments. It don't matter. It don't matter.
Yeah, well, whoever was chatting. Yeah, we really want to see the conversation between your girlfriend and Mandy.
No, so more than that. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
So no, the In-Betweeners. There isn't a bad episode of that TV series. The films, I mean, the first one was all right. The first one was good. Second film was all right. Probably didn't need a sequel, but it's just a really funny series. What Ian Morris did with that.
They should have waited 40 years for the sequel. You know what I mean? That's what they should have done.
Exactly. Yeah. That would have been.
Still might. What are you on about?
But they might. It's all playing kids again.
The observational comedy in that show and the way that they managed to really capture adolescent boys going through school, I just thought it was It was brilliant. It was really, really
number
well
of
done.
words that work their way out into the lexicon of people
From that show, bus wanker. I mean, the amount of times that
and
all friends and things like that. And
it had a lot of catchphrasey type things, but there were some really ballsy episodes as well. It was more of a reflection on what it's like being a teen nowadays, or from even when we were teens, than anything I've seen before.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the point. For me, that's why I really enjoyed it, and that's why I think it was worthy for me to mention it as my favorite one above all of those awesome sitcoms that we've already talked about. What about you, Lummy? What were you saying the episode you were talking about?
I remember that one where they went to the theme park in a car for some reason.
Yeah.
His driving test, didn't he?
Yeah. So they were trying to drive everywhere, and they went to London in that car as well. That's right, because they lost all the doors and everything when they went to the thing. Yeah, it's brilliant. And my worst sitcom, and apologies, gents, because I know you both wanted to go for this one as well. It wins so many awards and so many people like it, but fuck it, those people voted for Brexit. It's Mrs. Brown's Boys.
Hey, I got you the box set.
Thanks, Lummy. I mean, there's a reason it was Mrs. Brown's Boys D movie, but it was just an awful, the lowest.
Have you seen the movie? You actually watched it?
No.
Oh, I thought you'd watched the film, and I was like, "What?"
No, I didn't. No. And it was really fun. It was just. I mean, how does it get so much? How does it get so much love?
This is one of those shows that's necessary, though, because all you have to do is walk into a room full of strangers. Who in this room likes Mrs. Brown's Boys, and you've separated yourself from a bunch of people you don't really want to talk to.
We wanted to. I'm sure me and Webb wanted to pick this as well because it really is the ultimate. It's a real enigma of a show because, like,
I don't get it.
But I'll tell you what, fair play to the guy because he started it out as a stage show. Do you know this?
Yeah.
Right. It started out as a stage show, and then when the BBC they kept offering him shows, but they wanted to change it all. And he was like, no, they wanted to replace everybody else apart from him. And he went, no, I'm sticking to my guns. You take everybody or we don't do it at all. He held out. He held out until they went, all right, you can have everybody you want in it.
Wow.
So that's the guy.
And that's whisker away from being fucking homeless, this guy, before this show took off. He was really doing badly. He'd been trying for ages to get something run off the ground. He was fucking skint. And then all of a sudden this came and it hit home. Fair play to him, man.
I'm sure he's a nice guy, and that is a really lovely success story. And as British people, we love an underdog story, So
it's just got this weird niche in it, where nowadays, with everything that's going on with trans rights and stuff, the fact that it's a straight man dressed up as a woman, and it's just weirdly unpopular among so many people, but so popular with other people. It's like Brexit. It feels
like people cling on to this series because it's like the last bastion of un-PC kind of comedy, and they're clutching onto it, and it's just
that's what makes me awful. Sort of squirm about it. Really, is that it's keeping those people happy and saying, "Well, thank God that Alf Garnett might have gone, but at least there's something still on the telly for me."
And I'm sure some people out there will call us sort of snobs and things like that for kind of turning our nose up a bit. But yeah, we won't read those comments out. And do you know what? On this, like, I'm happy to be called a coffee snob. I don't want to drink shit coffee. So I've got no problems with people calling me a coffee snob. I've got no problems with calling me like a sitcom snob, if such a thing exists, for not liking Mrs. Brown's Boys, because it's just bullshit. And that's my worst sitcom.
I mean, there is that element there of if you decide you want to waste your time watching television, you know what I mean? Then for me, I want to watch something that's going to engage me. I want to watch something I'm going to find interesting. And
have you ever tried watching it? Have you ever tried watching it?
I did when it first came out. Yeah. It took me about 10 minutes to go, right, this really isn't for me. And then everything I've seen since then about it has just backed that up, really.
I've watched a few to kind of see, like you say, why are people loving this thing? And even the Christmas specials, you know what I'm like with Christmas specials. I've even tried to watch them kind of, and I'm like, just don't. In fact, the times I've watched it, exactly the same thing happens in them all.
Right. Do you know what it is? Mrs. Brown's Boys, and actually, I tweeted this and he liked it. So I'm guessing that it was quite an accurate assessment. That when Ricky Gervais wrote when the whistle blows?
Oh yeah.
The sitcom in extras, he was referencing Mrs. Brown's Boys.
Yeah.
And I put that on Twitter and he liked it. So I'm kind of guessing that I'm not too far from the mark there because it was it's just shit.
I just remembered, have you ever seen the Still Open All Hours with David Jason?
The new one?
Yeah, I nearly picked that actually as well.
Yeah.
Why was that really bad?
It's just, I mean, that's something though that's really popular. And you watch it and go, what the fuck is this? Why do people like that?
People are still after that heyday. Well, all you had to do was switch the box on and there it was. There was Open All Hours or Porridge or anything like that. There were loads and loads of them, weren't there?
I'm surprised nobody went for something like Porridge or Only Fools and Horses, to be honest.
Oh, they're all good. It's tricky, innit? But
that's
so
one.
many
That's one.
Man, I've remembered 4 or 5 while we've been on air. Like I don't know why I didn't come up with League of Gentlemen or Flowers or something that really took me.
I like myself shows. Like all these things. I have to limit myself. I give myself like a set parameter. So with this one, I said, right, it's got to be a studio audience one. That's how I did it.
Okay.
That's
interesting knowing how you pick them out each week. That's interesting. Yeah. So, how do you do it, Webby? Because I know you find it very difficult.
Yeah, well, I just thought, to be honest with you, I'll often tell you guys what I like and what I don't like. I don't hate stuff enough. Mrs. Brown's Boys doesn't bother me in actual fact because I just don't fucking watch it. I don't care. You know what I mean? So I don't hate it, but it is definitely for me perfect example of what I think is a shit sitcom. But what I really like is since things like League of Gentlemen is that blend, and it's not League of Gentlemen that started that. I was giving them far too much credit. They were influenced by other things as well. But I like those blends of kind of really dark comedies like League of Gentlemen and Flowers.
Inside Number 9.
Inside Number 9. Yeah, I like it when it's got an element of horror to it, but it's still ridiculously funny, you know.
We've got some more comments here with a few more. So Mandy said, Only Fools and Horses,
Yeah.
Classics.
Love Early Red Dwarf.
Yeah, me too.
Got the first 2 books sound.
I mean, Blackadder. Blackadder as well.
Blackadder. Yeah. Loads. We've got Mr. Merlin. Have you ever heard of that? Mr. Merlin?
No.
Like
do you know what, Terry? I'm amazed you've got a boyfriend, Terry.
And look at this. This is ultimate insult. Terry and June was naff.
Whoa.
Terry and June garbage. Come on. Deep Show Love.
Yeah.
Phoenix Nights.
Yeah.
Not bad.
I used to. What was the one with? The Good Life. I used to love when I was a kid. I used to really like The Good Life.
I mean, that was way beyond its time as well.
David Cross UK based sitcom?
Yes, I did, and it was really good.
It had an in-between.
Really good. Really strange.
Oh, here's one for you. Frasier, yeah.
That's a really good example of a spin-off as well. It's just who thought that would have ever.
New one's coming out, isn't there? Just announced.
And
really?
I bet they'll be fucking good. I bet they'll be really good because it's always been really well written. My only criticism of that show, sometimes it's a little bit too smart for me, and you know what I mean. I was as a kid when I was watching. I know this is funny, but I'm not sure why. You know.
Yeah, there was a lot of shows that were like that though when I was a kid. I used to sort of laugh along to other people laughing.
Have you been? I said the other day to you guys. I've been watching Family Ties. You know, Michael J. Fox. Thing. There's so many cameos in it. The other day, River Phoenix was in it. Corey Feldman. It's got the I told you about Chunk from the Goonies, didn't I?
Yeah.
And then Mama Fratelli were in it as well. Honestly,
I didn't really know that Family Ties was a comedy. I thought it was like a soap opera.
No, it's like a 25-minute comedy, like the 70s or early 80s. It was brilliant. I used to watch it when I first got Sky TV. Sky One had loads of old American shows like that. I mean, so it had like Your Different Strokes and all that sort of stuff, but it had things like Family Ties as well, and Leave It to Beaver and all those things that have just been on WandaVision actually.
Well, you used to say, didn't you, all the time? You used to watch them at your mum and dad's place, and you used to tell us about them, didn't you? Sitcoms, and you used to say, "Sit." What is it? Sit. The dog thing.
Sit, boo boo, sit, good dog.
Sit, sit, ubu, sit, good dog. What? Yeah.
It's Ubu, innit? I always thought you said What did you say?
Boo boo. Boo boo.
Yeah, I always thought it was boo boo when you used to say it.
No. Sit. Yeah. God, I forgot all about that.
But it did it on the end of Family Ties. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. No, it's always sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.
Yeah, I thought you said boo boo. Do you remember when you did that gig with Peter Kay at the thing?
Yeah, I do remember that. That was my second ever gig that I ever did. The first,
so funny. I just remembered that. I don't know why.
The first gig I ever did, I'd convinced the owner of a pub that I'd been doing stand-up for years. So he was like, "Oh, great, get you in to do our Christmas party." And I stood on the stage and my mic stand fell apart halfway through my set. I forgot all my material and the stage was near the toilets. So the only thing I could think of saying was, number 1 or number 2, as people came out of the toilet. I was just like, fucking hell, this is awful.
Oh, man.
I
remember your worst gig, Rich.
Which
I remember your
that?
worst ever gig.
That was my worst gig.
Just before, I think it might have been my birthday or somebody's birthday.
Was it the one at the garage?
No, it was down in a really nice, trendy, like independent bar down near Greek Street where you had just split up with your girlfriend.
Oh no!
No. I'm not going to say. I don't remember any of your jokes.
No, I remember.
I can tell you exactly what went wrong with the gig. Is the point? Is that Richard just split up with his girlfriend about 5 minutes before the gig, decided to get absolutely pissed off his face, and then went up and just slagged his ex-girlfriend off for like 20 minutes.
Whoa. This was material that already existed. It was, but it just happened to be a little bit more.
Paul twisted it by going, she's there after each punchline.
She's sat over there.
Yeah, no. I had a load of ex-girlfriend material. I had a load of ex-girlfriend material. It was our friend's 21st birthday, I think, or 18th, and I'd been asked to do a gig, and so I told all the ex-girlfriend jokes, but that was the only material I had at the time. So it just happened to be sort of current affairs as well in my life.
Yeah.
But yeah,
dude,
I forgot all about that.
I think it was your best gig. She finally said it.
I don't. Before we move on to our
I'm going to say we have got a couple more things. Do you want to? We've got a lot of comments tonight. Father Ted, excellent as well.
People almost don't want us to talk about Star Wars or something.
No,
I know.
Father Ted, excellent.
Considering where the writer's gone since then, I can't really endorse that anymore.
He's gone into a weird place.
Of course he has, but we had this with the other show where we mentioned it. But
Graham Linehan. Yeah.
Can you still enjoy the show though? That's the question then.
Yeah. You can enjoy that show. Yeah, absolutely.
Good. My Family. Have you ever seen that? Worst.
Is that the one with the kid from the BT adverts?
The BT adverts. Chris Marshall. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in Love Actually.
Do you know what? Actually, the first series of My Family was great, and then it all fell apart. But he was brilliant in it, Chris Marshall, in that first series.
He was the only good thing in it, really.
Well, yeah, he was good. Before we go on, Lummy, any more comments?
All right, we've done a lot.
Any more?
We've done a lot.
All right, before we move on, how are we doing, Rob? How's the Lego build? Did you find your piece? Did you find the piece?
I haven't found it.
Shitballs.
It's one of the black pieces, but there's a whole ton of them still on here. So, don't know where it is. But yeah, it's getting there. It's starting to come towards the end.
What does it look like, and can we help you find it from here?
Yeah, we've got a bird's eye view here. We can.
What sort of piece is it? Is it a oneer or is it a twoer?
Oh, hang on. I will take the other one off from here, and you can have a look. There we go. So the bit we're looking for is. Let's see, I can't actually quite see what camera I'm doing.
Yeah, we can see it. It's a four. It's a flat four.
Is it a 4 tile?
Not quite.
Because
it's got the connection on the bottom.
It's got like a hingey bit on it.
Yeah, it's that I'm missing at the moment. So if anybody can see that on the camera, please tell me where it is. Because I really can't see it.
Oh, mate.
Can't see it.
I feel bad now that we've asked you to come and take your Aston Martin apart, rebuild it, and you lost the piece in the process.
It'll turn up.
Yeah, it'll be around somewhere.
I'm sure Nathan's got a spare little hingy 4 tile bit.
It has to be a somewhere, because like I said, I took it apart 4 hours ago.
I knew we'd get that rivalry going. So it's around about this time that we normally do a retrospective review of a film. Generally, it's been from the Star Wars franchise, but we've sort of had a few standalone films as well. This week, we've finally got to Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. Now, we're going to have a slightly different retrospective review of this, because I don't think we're going to actually review it, because it's a film that pretty much everybody has seen, and it is... so there's no point going through it scene by scene, but arguably without that film, this show wouldn't exist, and a lot of other things possibly wouldn't have happened as well. So we're kind of going to talk about this film, about kind of what it means to us as geeks and what it means to you as well, our community. And so
maybe point out some shit you didn't know about it, possibly. Talk about like deleted scenes, outtakes, and things, other casting, because I think that's a great example of it, isn't it? Like, for example, Harrison Ford wasn't the original person in mind to play Han Solo. So believe it or not, we could have had a version of Star Wars with Christopher Walken or Al Pacino. Wow. Yeah, as they both auditioned for Han Solo. So clearly they're not that fucking good as actors, because they didn't get it.
Do you want me to put some images up as well while we talk about it or not?
If we could do it without being rude, we'll be all right.
I don't know. Do you know what? I don't know if we need to. This week. I know, but that is also something that we do need to know from our community. If Big T will know this, because Big T knows everything. How the hell can we show footage on this channel without getting copyright strikes? Because last week we got our episode taken down because of the what did we review? WandaVision, wasn't it? Yeah. So if anyone's got any advice on what we can do in order to be able to keep this show interactive,
and lots of just say Google footage. It. We fucking tried Googling.
Yeah, we fucking Googled it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we Googled it, man. We're not
lawyers. It's because we showed the entire episode. That's why.
I know, but it said that we had a 2 minute 12. We showed 2 minutes and 12 seconds of it, and we didn't. We showed the whole fucking thing.
What I gathered from watching other people's stuff is, if you show quick bursts, it don't get flagged for some reason. Everybody's I watched, they had about like a few seconds worth of a clip, and then they started talking again. So it's got to be somewhat like that.
If anyone can confirm that, that'd be great, because then if we get sued, we'll just reference you. That's fine. But okay, what I want to know, guys. What I want to know. When did you see Star Wars first, and how did you see it?
Just about to say that I saw Star Wars for the first time in my nana's living room when she'd just got a VHS and she'd recorded it off TV. I think I was 3 or 4, old enough to distinctly remember the bit where Obi-Wan comes out and scares the sand people away. I remember the first fight, the lightsaber fight between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan. And every time I watch those films, it sort of reinforces it in my mind as I remember seeing them when I was a kid. I get the same sort of feeling I got then, you know. So I was 3, 1982, something like that.
What about you, Lummy?
I honestly,
when did you first see it?
Well, I thought about this, you know, and I honestly can't remember seeing it for the first time, but because I've got 2 older brothers, they used to watch it quite well. Richard used to watch it quite a lot, so I reckon the first time I seen it was when he was watching it. But I definitely remember going to see Return of the Jedi, because
I saw that in the pictures.
We was on a triple bill with the first 2, and we were dead excited. I remember the excitement of waiting to watch Return of the Jedi, because we obviously a brand new film we'd not seen, and then
Had you seen Empire?
I'd seen the other two, but waiting for that one, we're like, new Star Wars blew us mind. Then we went to the Schofield Centre in Leeds, which used to exist, which was a shop. Yeah. And I bought the.
It's a shopping centre. I met Rowdy Roddy Piper there.
Shopping centre, yeah. We bought the new Return of the Jedi figures, $1.95 a piece.
Wow!
I bought Yak Face, one of the.
I remember. One of
the villains. Yeah, and a mate of mine, Lee, he bought R2D2 with pop-up lightsaber.
Yeah. What about you, Rob? How old are you, and when did you first see Star Wars?
I think I was about 8 or 9, so late 80s, 88, 89, somewhere around there. When I first watched it. So I grew up watching Star Trek more than Star Wars. So came into it a bit later. But yeah, things again, it's one of those you see it and yeah, it's a classic film. Okay, sorry, I'm concentrating on this. Still looking for the piece that I'm missing.
I'm so sorry.
Going back to Return of the Jedi, right? This is proof that people have fucking argued about Star Wars ever since that movie came out. The first two got away with it. Nobody gave a shit. They were just like, oh, this is great. When the third one came out with the fucking Muppets in it, the Ewoks in it, that's when people started arguing about whether it was for the kids or whether it was for the adults. So it's not a new thing that people argue about. It's been happening since Return of the Jedi.
Well, I saw Star Wars for the first time. I must have been about 6 or 7, and I was living in Wales at the time, in a little village in Wales, and it was Christmas, and I think my parents, we had visitors over for Christmas, on Christmas Day or Boxing Day. We had visitors over, and it was just some boring adult talk downstairs. So my mum was like, why don't you just go upstairs and watch telly in our room? So it's like this old little colour sort of shitty TV, but you had to kind of tune it in to get into the right channel. And I found this film, Star Wars, and it was about 20 minutes into the film as well. Like, no, it was about 5 minutes into the film, because I hadn't seen the first 5 minutes of that film until about 10 years later. And I just watched this film that had me hooked. And exactly like you're saying, Lummy, and you as well, Webby, it's that feeling of watching this film and knowing you're watching something that is just so special and so magical and really, really gets your imagination, you know. And
dude,
it's
just you know what?
Incredible.
I just got a massive flashback then. You just actually triggered when you were telling me then about going upstairs to watch the film. I remember the first time I saw it, and it wasn't the film. This is why I couldn't remember. Do you remember the Super 8 video player?
Yeah.
We had a reel of Star Wars Super 8. It was about 15 minutes long.
Shit.
And I remember watching it on that. That is, you literally just triggered that back.
I could just imagine little Lummy going,
amazing.
What the fuck was that? I'm going to need more of that right now. That would 15 minutes.
That's why I wanted this chat, because
it was literally 15 minutes of footage that made no sense. Wow. They were all out of context. They were just selected.
Do you know which bits it was? Oh, so it wasn't even in an order. It wasn't 15-minute.
It was in order, but it was all random scenes. Like, there was a bit I remember. This is weird because you know what I'm like when we deleted scenes and everything. There was a bit in it where Han Solo runs through the doors and he says, "Open the blast." The stormtrooper says, "Close the blast doors," and then they jump through, and then they go, "Open the blast doors, open the blast doors." And I think they cut that out of the film at one point and then put it back in, and it was on the Super 8 or 16 mil. Yeah,
I'm probably going to sound like a cynical fuck now, right? Because people always say, "What is it about Star Wars? What is it about Star Wars? The first movie in particular that hooks people in. What is it about the storytelling? What is it about?" And I tell you exactly what it is. George Lucas nicked the idea from all the best stories that have come before it. I'm sorry, Seven Samurai, fucking Lord of the Rings.
Right. I'm gonna one second, Nate. I'm gonna take this moment where you're this sacrilegious moment, this blasphemous moment here, if you can excuse me for a moment. I need to go to the bathroom. Just talking about Star Wars got me too excited. The syphilis has kicked in. I need to go to the toilet. So I'll be back in a minute. Cheers.
Keep going.
But yeah, that's what happened. I mean, not that I'm picking on it. That's a great. Everybody plagiarizes. Everything's taken from somewhere. But that's what it is about the storytelling. Is that he just rewrote it in his own terms, in his own new world, in a universe that didn't exist before. And it was really cleverly written, but it seemed really fresh and really new because he was clever about what he stole.
Mm. Well, he wanted to do Flash Gordon, didn't he? He couldn't get the rights. That's why he made Star Wars.
Yeah.
Wanted to do Flash Gordon. They went, "No, you can't." And he went, "I'll make my own." I mean, I'll wait till Rich comes back. But I was going to say about watching it again as well. It was.
I knew it was a simple. Sorry, Lummy. I've just seen the comments about our problem with the rights. Have you seen this one from Big T More?
Need to put
I think it's exactly what we said it was in the beginning. All we need to do is put something up before the show goes out. A disclaimer.
Yeah.
I've been saying it for weeks. Anyway, yeah, back to Star Wars, man. You know, I didn't rewatch it this week. No need. It's in my fucking brain. It's indelible. What I did watch was a one of those YouTube videos by a guy that's rewatching it and trying to find new Easter eggs that nobody's noticed before and stuff like that. And there's quite a lot of stuff in there by this guy that I'd never known before. Things like the original title, was supposed to be Luke Sky Killer, something like that.
Of Star Killer.
Yeah. Star Killer. Yeah.
Which is what they named the base in it in episode 7.
Yeah, as a little homage. Yeah, so there's he's made me need a wee now. I can't stop thinking about how I need a wee. It's ridiculous. I know. But yeah, what about you, Lumb? Story-wise, what makes this so fucking good? What makes it awesome?
I honestly think it's the characters. I think they're all superb. I watched it again, and just you watch it, and I'm going to talk with Rich back now. Just the interplay with the characters, man. It's so good. It's and
has Nathan stopped saying the bad things?
Yeah, it's about you.
Good, that's all right.
Yeah, I agree though. He's a prick. Anyway,
I'm right. That's all right. You're
right. You're right. No, I'm going to say
him and John Williams are in good company then.
John Williams.
Don't, because every time you mention that John Williams steals his fucking music from old classical music, Lummy can't watch. He'll melt down.
No, I know he does.
No, actually, no. In fairness to Lummy, it was Lummy that informed me about this. So
yeah, and I got told by the guys at Movie Boulevard they put the music on, and I was like,
in fairness to John Williams, he didn't steal it all. He changed a little bit of it.
I want to start. Anyway, I watched this again last night, right? And I thought, I don't like you, Webb. I thought, I don't need to watch it again. I've seen it countless times. But I actually watched it with a bit of a different look at it. I looked more at how it was filmed and the shots and everything. And I went, do you know what? It felt really fresh. I don't know why. Because I've seen it hundreds of times, if not thousands
of times. Well,
I'll
tell you what. Did you watch it on Disney Plus? No. Or did you watch it on your Blu-ray?
Blu-rays, yeah.
Oh, did you? Because the Disney Plus cut is fresh as hell, man. It's absolutely beautifully. They've done something to it. I don't know what they've done. It's all just so.
Do you know what I really enjoyed though? The stuff with the droids at the start with R2 and C-3PO, right? And when we did the Revenge of the Sith retrospective, and we were going on about all that and all them crappy jokes between them. Yeah. The jokes in this, they
land. Right? They land really well. They're just well thought out.
Do you know what I love?
Do
you know what I love about the kind of jokes in this? It's stuff that people actually say to each other all the time in a way. And this is why I love the original Ghostbusters for its humour as well, because it feels natural the way that people are kind of saying stuff to each other. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's
no, exactly what you mean. That's exactly how I feel.
It's not like I'm going to tell a gag, but I hope
that's what, for me, again, that's what Solo does. It makes it obvious that it's a joke. Whereas Star Wars and things that work in the Star Wars universe, for me, are always done with that tinge of respect or a bit of naturalism to it that just makes.
But that's what all the modern droid stuff does for me. That's something that you didn't like in Solo. It's exactly what all of them do for me. Apart from The Mandalorian, and I think they managed to get that back again with that droid at the end of Mandalorian.
We talked about the Rogue One, didn't we, with that droid in that? I think that got towards what the original R2 and C-3PO, that kind of humour, because it wasn't...
Honestly, they were on a knife edge with that one. For me, I can see Gittins is sort of taking
the wrong end of the edge.
You're at the wrong end. I think it's balanced, that one. It's quite well balanced.
Whereas the L...
It almost isn't.
L3,
Yeah.
That was weird. But no, I loved that. I loved the progression in this, where it starts off with the droids, then you got Luke. It takes a while for Han Solo to even get in the story, don't forget, as well. I like that. I like how they build it. And even Alec Guinness, again, you watch and think, I believe that you're a Jedi Knight, man. I believe it. And
I learned something new about it yesterday, which is that scene where Obi-Wan and Luke sit down and Luke and they see the projection from Princess Leia from R2-D2, and then they have a little chat about him being your father was a Jedi and all this shit.
Yeah.
And then he gets the lightsaber out. Apparently, that was all edited. It wasn't in that order in the original theatrical cut, and they chopped it up and replaced bits into it. And the actual original order makes much more sense. because it gives him the lightsaber straight after telling him about his dad, which links into what Princess Leia's saying. You know what I mean? And it made more sense. And I never noticed it. It's not a bad edit. It's just the original way they'd done it. Told it really well, you know.
They say it was saved in the edit, though, this film. They said before they actually re-edited it, it was a bit of a mess. And, I'm sure you've seen some of the deleted stuff and all that. And, he got... When he showed the first cut, I think they said, like, it's just like American graffiti in space. So he cut all that stuff with Biggs out when they're, on Tatooine. Else it could have been a bit more...
But those are the bits where Mark Hamill's acting is not up to scratch in those deleted scenes. And there's only one line in the film left in where, for me, Mark Hamill sucks a bit on it, and it's the bit where he says something like, I was going to go to the Tashi station to pick up some power converters, and it's really weird and whiny and teeny, and it does sound like it's from American Graffiti, but that's the only time he does it, you're right.
Like I say, though, watching it again, the interplay with the characters, I mean, it absolutely shits all over these new ones. I'm sorry, but it does. The fact that the characters are actually, they're all
it's remarkably simplistic as well, Lumb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've always said that. The others are too complicated for their own good. They get too complicated.
So even when you get to the Death Star and the trench run and you go inside the cockpits and
I'll tell you what I did notice with the cockpits, now you mentioned it. I loved watching it and thinking, the cockpits look different to the other movies, and there's a load of shake, right? While they're flying, it feels like it's in a more of a real ship than when you watch these other ones. It was weird. I'm watching it, going, every ship that you see a cockpit shot of, they're shaking it on like a gimbal or something. You know what I mean? It just makes it a bit more realistic.
Yeah,
honestly, just a little thing.
I learned something about it last night, Lumb, that you might be able to explain. So originally there was supposed to be a red squadron and a blue squadron, and when they put the blue, the TIE fighter, the X-wings up with the blue stripe instead of the red stripe, because they were using a blue screen, it didn't work. Why didn't they just go, well, they can be Black Squadron or Silver Squadron? Why didn't they just rename it and repaint it? They just took it all out.
I think in the comic book version or the novel, I think it is blue instead of red.
Blue's in Rogue Squadron.
Yeah.
The blue squadron's in Rogue Squadron. They go down to that planet, the sand planet, what's it called? Scarif.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the blue squadron does exist in the canon. But yeah, I just thought, why didn't they just name it something else?
I don't know.
Just can we? How are we doing for comments, Lummy, about this? I know we've got a couple.
I need a wee now, Rich. You've set me off.
Oh, sorry, man. I know it's like
that one.
Oh, thank you, Big T, for that. Thank you very much.
Love New Hope. For years, I couldn't watch the full movie. When I got to a trench run, I taped over it with.
Although I used to love Supergran. I used to love it. Brilliant.
I've not pulled the tab on the.
Dude, I forgot all about the tab, and you have to tape over it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Oh mate.
What a thing. I mean, Supergran was good, but
I loved. Yeah, but it's no Star Wars, is it?
It's not Star Wars Trench Run, no.
No. So how old were you, or how quickly were you able to watch Empire and Jedi after watching A New Hope?
Oh, well, I've probably seen them at the same-ish time, I would think, because when I probably started watching it, because 78, when were Empire 80? I was probably, I'm not sure, actually. I probably saw them, Return of the Jedi were 83, maybe it were all around about the same time.
Right.
Think about it, 77, 78, 79, 80.
So I go on.
No, I was just thinking.
I didn't see Empire or Jedi for another 11 years after I saw A New Hope. And in fact, the first versions of Empire and Jedi that I saw were the remastered versions. And I might not have actually seen, I don't know if I've seen the originals.
Bloody hell.
I don't know if I've seen the original cuts. Yeah, I don't know.
I would imagine not, because they got disappeared.
You can get. I've got a DVD copy.
I've got them on DVD. Yeah, you can sell them DVDs for quite a lot of money.
I don't think I saw them yet, and it wasn't because like this film had caught my imagination and given me a love for all the things that we talk about, every single week. But for some reason, I just did not know that there was an Empire and a Jedi until we were at college together. And it was you guys talking about it all the time. And I was like, wait, this is a thing that I really enjoyed. What the fuck is this these guys are talking about? I relied on friends to kind of keep me updated about sort of popular culture things. And so I
was quite surprised when your favorite sitcom wasn't California Dreams or California Dreaming.
It was Saved by the Bell, actually, but I just thought
Saved by the Bell and the spin-off California, the one about the band. I know you guys hate it when I do this, but somebody's put a comment up at 9:42. That's all I'm going to say. Can you read that one out?
We've just seen it. We've just read it, dude.
I think it's really interesting because that is a problem that people in the modern world probably don't
understand. No, we talked about it. Yeah.
Because hang on, it happened to me, right? We had a copy of Mary Poppins that was taped off TV. My brother was amazing at stuff like that, really technical. Even before anybody in our house knew how to record stuff off TV, he figured it out. So he recorded me Mary Poppins. And the thing is, when you get to the end of Mary Poppins on my brother's tape, the film stops, and the end of The Shining is on there straight after the fucking Mary Poppins. So I used to watch Mary Poppins and then leave it playing when I was a kid and watch the end, the scariest fucking bit of The Shining, and I couldn't stop watching. So now whenever I watch Mary Poppins, I'm expected to see Jack Nicholson at the end, I was like, this is a bold choice for Disney. What's that dude chasing Mary Poppins with a fucking axe for? What's going on here? But there's you don't get that in the modern age.
In preparation for tonight's show, because that's right, folks, we do preparation before the show. I decided I wanted to have a look to see what would have happened if Star Wars hadn't been made. And if you don't mind indulging for a moment, I found I just Googled it and I found an article by a guy called Kevin Lincoln, who'd been talking to Kevin Feige, who's the Marvel head honcho who presides over what is the most lucrative and successful film franchise currently operating, including Star Wars. And he talks about how the impact of the trilogy that it had on him. And so then they got talking about what would the last 4 decades look like if George Lucas had never made Star Wars at all. And here is a possibility. So in a disclaimer, this is only a possibility. But actually, when you go through it, some of the events that are linked with Star Wars being made, I mean, it is quite likely that some of these things wouldn't have happened. So things like Raging Bull wouldn't have been made. By 1979, Steven Spielberg is the sole king of the box office after Jaws, making the schadenfreude of the disastrous grosses of his war comedy 1941 and even more potent. However, he never visits Hawaii on the weekend of the release of Star Wars with George Lucas, which is when the pair would have come up with the idea for Raiders of the Lost Ark. Bereft after the failure of 1941 and without Raiders to distract him, Spielberg tries to make an adaptation of Black Hawk. When he can't get it off the ground, the director dives headlong into a sci-fi film based on his childhood, E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Meanwhile, the profits from Star Wars, which boosted the company's stock price from $6 a share to $27 and increased year-over-year revenues by nearly 50%. 20th Century Fox can no longer justify staying in the motion picture business, and instead of Mark Rich and Marvin Davis buying into Fox for $700 million in 81, it sells for a much lower price to a group of investors who would probably just asset strip it. And then it goes on to talk about all the other films that wouldn't have been made and how the shape of the sort of box office and the entertainment world would have completely changed had Star Wars not been made.
Yeah, I agree with you to a certain extent, but sci-fi wise, Star Wars wasn't the fucking be all and end all. There were other sci-fi before it that were wildly popular.
Of course there were. I mean, Rob was into Star Trek and things like that.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
What we're talking about is the success of this film, how it launched all the action figures, all of the other mediums in which this film. There are whole industries that would not be where they are today, or might not be where they are today, had it not been for this one film.
But when it comes to films that were influenced by Star Wars, I'd argue that most films that came out that tried to replicate the success of Star Wars fucking sucked.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They messed it up. They tried too hard. They got the wrong end of the stick. They thought they knew what people wanted, and they were terrible. But I mean, it's kind of like, for me, you know that movie that came out last year called Yesterday, which is about a kid who bangs his head or something. He wakes up in a world where the Beatles never existed. So he rewrites all the Beatles songs and he becomes wildly successful. I'm just picturing a scenario where me, you, and Lummy, we all get knocked on the head and we wake up in a world where Star Wars don't exist. So we rewrite it, you know what I mean? We pitch it and we go make it. And I reckon, I don't know, a lot of it is down to the right time and the right place. Like Lummy said, the people in this movie, when they were making the movie, the extras, were laughing at it. They were like, this is a fucking joke, you know what I mean? It's going to be crap. You know, the medallion scene, apparently there's a bunch of people giggling in it and stuff. And they all thought it was going to be a massive failure, but after, like Lummy said, after it got edited in the right way, nobody could have predicted
music as well. I know you said about the music, but we've got a comment here. Big team R again. Love all the elements, new music, lightsaber blasters, cool voice, shooting first. Jump, it's really. I mean, this is the funny thing about this film. George Lucas directed this and wrote it. Yet he also wrote and directed episodes 1 to 3, and they're so different. It's so strange, is that? I mean, I think I go back to this all the time. It's when they couldn't afford to do everything they wanted, it makes it a better film, I think. And I think this with Spielberg as well. Back in the day, like Jaws, you know, when you couldn't get the shark working, you had to come up with different ways to, you know, show it.
But the answer to it now seems to be to try and blind you with fucking CGI that you don't need.
Well, Terry's actually put, I don't know if she's pissed, but there's a stillness, quietness that will make you able to almost smell the sun and the sand, everything in the scenes. Cinematic. Never captured the same after the first three. All the others are too busy. That's
I agree completely.
Yeah. Too busy is a great way to put all the other film.
But you've got to look at.
Yeah, my eyes have never been so busy.
George Lucas's genius isn't so much in his writing; it's taking other elements of success from other worlds and placing them in his own world. The cantina scene's a great example because it's in the good, the bad, and the ugly. He fucking walks into that cantina; it's exactly the same sort of scene, but you're seeing it in space. You're seeing cowboys in space. You're seeing, things you've never seen before, and it's just done with that touch of. Look, let's just keep the cameras rolling and show you that stillness and quietness and the fact that this place feels real, and that's what makes the difference. And unfortunately, not to diss it, Rob, but that's the difference for me with Star Trek. Star Trek to me feels like you're meant to accept the fact that it's not real, and that's where I struggle with it. It doesn't feel real to me. It's not tangible, whereas Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, Star Trek is definitely a utopian world compared to, say, Star Wars. Star Wars is more the Western space. That's how I always saw Star Wars.
Yeah, I think
the big difference is Star Wars is supposed to be set in the past and Star Trek is supposed to be set in the future.
That's a big difference. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
I mean, it's set in the past in some ways, but it never really. It says a galaxy a long, long time ago, but the technology you're looking in that far dwarfs our technology. You know what I mean? They're flying around lightsabers. Ships.
Well, it feels old, all the lived-in stuff and all that,
Yeah.
You're really. Right. And again, watching it, you think, fucking hell, they've spent a bit of time.
Do you know what? That's exactly it. This is a film. Star Wars is a film that feels like this world is inhabited by real beings, and you can relate to them. You can see how it all works. There's just something that's really palatable about it, whereas the others. Saying this is going to sound daft, but they're just really far-fetched and really unbelievable. Where there is something about the Star Wars world in those first three films that it's really accessible.
Yeah, they're grounded in a bit of kind of real world, even though they are, like you say, they are ridiculous, really. Fantasy epics. Again, for Ghostbusters, for me, you feel like it's the same kind of.
Absolutely. Exactly.
You think if this existed, I could believe these guys. Forget about the ghosts flying around and all that. I actually believe these guys are doing what they're saying they're doing. Whereas some movies come along, you think it's painting by numbers. This because I don't believe the word you're fucking saying.
It's naturalism. It's natural. Even if you apply naturalism to the most ridiculous premise.
Yeah.
If you've got that natural streak, you can have ghosts flying about. You can have things to do with religion and gods that don't exist, and you can have all that.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones blends that line really, really well as well until Crystal Skull, when for some reason that one's just a bit too far fetched and a bit preposterous, and it tries too hard to do it. Whereas the things that are based on like Camelot and things that are based on the Ark of the Covenant,
legends,
much more plausible. Yeah. Whereas the alien side, the Roswell side.
I mean, do you agree with this? Right. So watching that last night, and as soon as it got to all them special edition bits with the CGI, it just took me right out of it. I'm just like, I can't. This looks awful. All the extra CGI, except the end bit with the Death Star with the X-wings. Some of the shots in that I thought they look pretty cool, but the stuff like it's when people try and get on creatures that are CGI and the people are CGI and. It just looks a mess.
So this is where I can't actually contribute to this conversation, because I saw the original theatrical release of Star Wars when I was like 8, and it really stuck with me. But it was just this film that I'd seen and never really knew what it was and how it, where it had gone and all that sort of stuff. And then the only other times I've ever seen it have been the digitally remastered ones. And I know Big T was saying that I have to see them.
Beware, because you're traditionalists like Lummy and myself who saw the original and somehow have got that as a perfect version in our heads. I watched it recently. It's not a perfect version. It's empty. It's dark. You can see why they put all that stuff over the top. When they go to Mos Eisley and all the creatures are coming past, and there's a giant fucking Jew-back that walks past the camera and just looking at his ass for about 5 minutes. It's totally just a bit too overkill. And I understand the need to want to go back and fix your movie when you didn't have the budget originally. And now I'm in a position where I can go do whatever I want and it's going to look brilliant and the technology can keep up. I understand that, but I just think it was a little bit too much. Some places it really works. A particular bit of episode 5, Empire Strikes Back, where it works is where they go to Cloud City and there's things going on in the background that just it's seamless.
Yeah, that's a perfect example of using
when it works.
Yeah.
I think for me, what it is,
Empire's the one that hasn't suffered too badly from the special edition version.
I think with that one too much.
So watching the remastered versions, there was that bit when they get to Mos Eisley. I absolutely, and it really did stick out. All of the slapstick stuff that they added when they first get there with all the creatures getting up to and that is the thing that they've kind of done with a lot of them, and that's the thing I think that ruins a lot of the Star Wars films for me is the amount of humor and slapstick that they try to put in.
I don't know if you saw, but somebody sort of directed a comment towards you earlier on about if you've never seen the originals, you should.
Big T,
things like the songs are different. So in Return of the Jedi, when you've got the Jabba's Palace band, they sang a different song originally, and the new song is it's a bit shit. Right. And you know what I mean?
There was no need to change it at all.
No. You were saying this the other week.
The Ewok song at the end, everybody loves the original one.
I'd love to hear it.
And then they changed it, and it's like...
I'd love to hear it. I've never heard it. I'd love to hear it.
You've never heard Yub Nub?
No. I've never heard it.
I'll give you a chorus of it, but I can't remember the tune now.
But that's why, I just thought it'd be a much more interesting way of looking at this film, was just to kind of find out what it means to us and to our community, because exactly. Just out of fairness and respect for the person who wrote the article, let me it's if you wanted to read it, it's What If Star Wars Never Happened, Polygon.com, and it's written by a guy called Kevin Lincoln. I recommend it. It was done in 2018. I recommend reading it. It's a really good, interesting read.
It is. It's like that premise of the Beatles. If the Beatles, you hear it all the time. If the Beatles had never existed, you wouldn't have all the music. You would. You'd still have music. You just wouldn't have stuff that you knew sounded like the Beatles. Do you know what I mean? They didn't write all the music in the world.
About that yesterday.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard that because, and the other thing is they changed it because it's a very, I don't know if he actually directed it. What's the guy who directed all them? Richard Curtis, not Tony Curtis. Richard Curtis, it's his kind of style movie, and it doesn't work with that darkness there. You've got to have it a bit schmaltzy, otherwise people just won't, watch it. I saw that movie because I'm a Beatles fan. Me and my missus enjoyed it. It was all right, but it's an interesting question. But again, if Star Wars didn't exist, I think you would still have sci-fi. You just wouldn't have stuff that felt like Star Wars as much. Or you wouldn't know it.
But it's also things like that meeting between Lucas and Spielberg going to Hawaii together to see the opening of the film. And that's where they came up with the idea for Raiders of the Lost Ark. So potentially, we wouldn't have Indiana Jones if it wasn't
the other side to that coin is though we might have had something different that were even better. You just don't know, do you?
That's true. Yeah.
What if? I mean, it goes back to that old thing of if they hadn't recast Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future, and they'd have stuck with Eric Stoltz, what would have happened then? There wouldn't have been Back to the Future 2 and 3, but what would Robert Zemeckis have gone on and made? You know what I mean? It's different. What would Michael J. Fox have made instead of those movies? It's that whole thing, innit? The cast for Star Wars when they were auditioning, they had two sets, didn't they? They got it down to 2 sets, and one went on to do Carrie, the Stephen King.
Really interesting.
Yeah. They auditioned them at the same time.
I didn't realise that. I didn't realise that. Really, I did not realise that.
Yeah, auditioned them all. So they had 2 sets of people, and they went, right, them can go Star Wars, them can go Carrie.
It's John Travolta. John Travolta's in Carrie as well, isn't he?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
So.
I wonder if he ever auditioned for Star Wars then, because he was big at the time. There was a tape,
wasn't there, with loads of people auditioning for it that they released. Kurt Russell.
I know.
Were close, I think, to getting it, and so.
Yeah.
I know we're kind of running quite late on time, but is there anything that you guys have found out? What is the most recent bit of sort of behind the scene news or gossip or fact that you found out about that first Star Wars film? So after all these years, what's the kind of most recent thing that you're like, wow, I never knew that? So I've just found out loads of shit tonight, for example.
I mean, I can keep mine quite short, but in the original where Darth and Obi-Wan fight for the first time, obviously, since Star Wars came out, the changes they've made to what has to happen in a lightsaber battle. Yeah, they have to be epic. They have to be loads of moves. There's got to be shitloads of CGIs. It's like a fucking full-on martial arts fight. It's not like that at all.
That's from the Darth Maul kind of
Well, yeah, it is, but the fights just get more and more complicated. It's like they go to the nth degree with it. But I watched this, and you can check this out, guys, on YouTube. I can't remember who did it, but it's some fan-made, really modernized really sort of version of the fight between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan. It's fucking brilliant. It really works. It doesn't go too far. It just opens the camera up a little bit more, so you get to see a bit more. And there's a bit more action in it, and a bit more Jedi stuff, and they're really going at each other. It's great.
I know that we've heard me talk about this before, but as someone who choreographs fights for a living, I would much rather see one slap done really well at a good point in the story than see a million backflips and just something that detracts on the story. And this, when you asked me, when you sent that link to me to see that whoever put that together did a brilliant job from a fight director's point of view. It's really clean. It's really tight, and dramatically it works.
Yeah,
it just tells a brilliant
point
story.
of view of what those characters are able to do with their powers. Yeah, in Star Wars, the first in A New Hope, they didn't really know it was going to be successful. They didn't know they'd have to bring it up again. So they talk a little bit about the history, about Darth Vader being a powerful Jedi and stuff and all that. But they didn't know where it was going. It's just a really interesting premise. I think that particular scene with a little bit more work being interjected into Star Wars, it would make it a different movie. Because in A New Hope, where we're left in the original, is that Obi-Wan, the point of Obi-Wan isn't to try and show off and fight Darth Vader. The point is Obi-Wan knows he's got to die, or Luke can't be Luke. It's the same thing we talked about with Qui-Gon Jinn having to die in that Darth Maul fight. He can see that this is part of Luke's journey, so he makes the sacrifice. Don't put up a fight, does he? He just goes, right, drops his thing and shoot. Is he knows, he believes in the Force, and he knows he will live on. Do you know what I mean?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think there's a fine line with all this stuff, and as we saw with Episode 3, you know, the fight at the end could have been so... I mean, they were going about on all them droids and all that over lava, and it just made it so fake.
Too much.
You think,
it looked like a computer game. It looked like a computer game.
Yeah, it did. I'd rather them just do a fight where they're very basic, but what they're saying is the important thing to me.
It did look like a computer game, but I tell you what, there are computer games out now that look better
than that. Yeah.
So, but what the point?
I know it looked like
is,
a PlayStation 2 computer game. You know.
It always comes back to me. You want the characters. You want to be believing what the character's saying and how weighty it is to them. And with them ones, that was half the problem. Which I don't even think we covered it really when we were talking about them. You think I like this? I like the film that I watched last night. Again, this film. You think I can get into this because I believe there's a bit of weight behind what they're saying.
But
and the sacrifice.
I mean, you're right, man. But if you think about it, if I think about Star Wars: A New Hope as a kid, I would want to be Luke or Han, right? Probably, maybe even Chewie. Maybe Obi-Wan.
I wanted to be Luke. As a kid, I wanted to be Luke. I wanted to be Luke.
But if I think about Rise of the Skywalker, or if I think about prequels, you're right. There's no character in those movies that I affiliate with that I want to be because they're all made a bit wanky and, you know.
Whereas, actually, that's a really good point because then when and I don't know if you might not agree with this from me, when like Force Awakens came out, suddenly there was a character in that I was like, this character's fucking cool, and it's Poe. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant character, just a really cool character.
Again, the problem is he's cool for one movie and then they switch.
But that's what I'm talking about.
Do you know what I mean?
But that's what I'm talking about. That one film though, because you didn't have that in any of the 3 prequels. But then suddenly they had this film where there was this character that brought some of the energy that some of the characters in the original trilogy had.
To be honest,
you've got to remember that first bit where you meet him and he's against Kylo Ren and he gets dragged to him and Kylo Ren's and he's like, who talks then? Am I supposed to talk first? And he starts straight away.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
It's brilliant.
I think I mean, we all know what happened with that sequel trilogy, didn't we? I think they got in over their head by not plotting it, and I think them characters could have all. I mean, there's that big thing about Finn not, you know. It was supposed to have a Jedi storyline. They just threw it out the fucking window to the point where it had to be developed in a Lego Star Wars holiday special, you know, to give him a character arc. And it's like, what are you doing? This should have been in the movies.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys threw a lot away. You know, the most interesting bit in the what's the one? Is it? I think it might be The Last Jedi. The most interesting bit in it is where they're in that sandpit sinking, and he goes, "Oh, Ray, I forgot to. I've got something to tell you. I need to tell," and he never fucking tells her. It could be the most interesting thing in the world, but it never actually. Yeah. It never comes back up. It's really weird.
I mean, but that again, it comes back to making them too complicated. You know, just keep to the simple. You've got to go here. You've got to do a task. Then you've got to go somewhere else. You've got to do this. You've got to go there and do that. Not
too many main characters. Too many threads.
We got this. Whoa!
Too many cooks, I think, as well. Yeah, you know, once you've got Kathleen Kennedy involved and she trumps all the writers, but George Lucas is not involved anymore, but his opinion still counts, and it all goes a bit backwards and forwards. And you know, now you've got George Lucas.
To know
pretty
what
much
his original
but I think we're going to find out because I think George Lucas is so pissed off with what happened to his property that he has actually pretty much condemned it, hasn't he, and said that he really would like it.
Hiya, Matt. You all right?
Hey, Matt. How you doing?
Hey, Matt.
My kids love the characters in the new film, especially Ray, Finn, and Poe. Whether Saga lost it with me was not keeping.
Yeah,
exactly. I agree. Yeah.
Or on the same idea, give them something to do. You know.
And then that third movie starts off with them all together, but it fucking happens so quickly that you don't actually get any exposition, you don't get any storytelling, you don't get anything. They just fly through the universe, and then they're there, and then they split up again.
Don't forget in Empire, though, they're not together as well. Empire Strikes Back, you know, Luke goes to Dagobah, and you've got the others on the Falcon all the way through the film, which that works, though, but because they've got tasks to do. You know, they've got stuff that's actually integral. They're not going to a casino planet to look round. And free some space horses. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, if it's all about, we went to that casino planet because we needed some new characters and we wanted to, you know, we wanted more figures making. None of them are named. None of them have much dialogue. There's no point in that because you're not making those characters interesting enough for people to want to buy the figure. You know what I mean?
That's true.
But Matt's right. Matt's got a point. His kids love the characters in the new films, and that's what it's about.
I'd be interested.
If I was a kid watching these movies, man, I would be fucking blown away. I'm sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. So would I.
Do you mean the episode 7, or do you mean all the way through? That'd be interesting to know. Because I think the characters in episode 7, they start off really well, and you think, here we go.
Yeah,
we're getting into the new. And when I watched the episode 7 in the cinema, you know that thing where it comes on with Skrull, and you think, here we go, we're in. What's going to happen? And then when BB-8 were rolling across the sand, I thought, this feels like a Star Wars movie. Man. They've done it.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
J.J. Abrams has done it here, and then
I love
as
the
it went
stuff
on,
with what's the name, with Rey scavenging the destroyed Star Destroyer.
Exactly.
It's great. It's great. That was my favourite bit in the Rise of the Skywalker as well, when she went back to it on the ocean planet.
But they lost. I think they lost the way, and they didn't. I mean, not having the main characters together in that episode 7 at least was a massive mistake.
Yeah, I agree.
Matthew Hick is right there. He's absolutely bang on.
Yeah.
It was. It is. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
You should have planned it out. And
you're right. I mean, Hick knows he's right, and he studies writing, so he knows fine well that you've got to have a ground plan and you've got to hit the beats. But
just Rob, how we doing on the Aston Martin, man? Have you found the piece?
Nope, still not found it.
I mean, this because we're not going to get this built before the end of the show, but we're going to might have to leave it for another show.
Come back next week and finish it.
Did we find the missing piece?
Not yet. So
is it, Rob? Is it one of those 4x4 little square, but it's got a raised bit on it? Is it one?
It's got a bracket. It's got a little hook.
The point for the little black connector pin. It's got that on the underneath. But 2x2 little flat piece, but with the connector pin underneath.
Come back next week and finish it if you don't mind having a bunch of Lego out on your table all week.
No, I live alone. I'm in lockdown. What am I going to do?
I think
Lego was made for, man.
I think this has been great having Rob on doing this. I've been quite fascinated just getting sidetracked watching this meticulously laid out Lego. And it was amazing because that's great. But it's amazing because it was a chassis a minute ago, and then suddenly I looked back like 10 seconds later, and the doors were on, and I was like,
it's getting there, man.
It's awesome.
It's cool.
Guys, and I just keep looking at those wheels going, those wheels aren't on yet. What are you going to say, Webby?
I was going to say next week, are we going to have a bash at reading out this Star Wars?
Maybe.
Are we here next week?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Oh, hang on. No, next week's difficult, innit? Because we're having a week off, aren't we? Are we going to have a week off or what?
I don't know.
Do you know what? Let's have a chat. Let's have a chat about it.
We're going to get Rob back to do his Legos.
Yeah, exactly. It means Rob's going to have it sat out there for 2 weeks, and I'd feel awful if that were the case. Imagine how many pieces he's going to lose if that Lego's just left there. You lose one piece in 2 hours.
Webb, why don't you come on for the last hour, Webb, and we'll do the script read. Me and Gittins and Rob will come on the first hour.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
You didn't want to miss it.
The script read, I'd really want to look at that script. But are we going to do it so we're not reading the script out and it's taking us 3 hours? We're going to do it like one act at a time? Or are we going
I think we should do sections. Exactly. Like so it's released.
We can all read it.
So it's like a series, and people tune in to. Should we explain what it is that we're talking about, Lummy? Can you explain to everybody what it is?
We've got his hands on episode 9, written by Colin Trevorrow, who was originally going to direct episode 9 before Carrie Fisher died, sadly. I think that's what put a spanner in the works for his script.
So it's the original script for episode 9?
Yeah, called Duel of the Fates. We managed to get a copy of it. I think it's pretty easy to get hold of. I just did a bit of Googling.
But we're we're going to read through it act by act it out.
And make it like an episodic series as our show goes on.
All
so
four
each
of
week
us will take parts in it. So Rob as well is included in that. I know.
Yeah.
We haven't cast it yet. We'll cast it this week. Somebody's got to read the stage directions probably, because there's probably loads of them.
Yeah.
In fact, from experience, I think that's what will take the longest amount of time.
Yeah. So we'll do that.
It's not like we can skip over it because we don't know what happens in the film. We can't, we're going to have to read it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. So are we all going to be reading this cold? We're not going to. I mean, Lummy's read it before. You're going to read it.
I have not read it.
So we're all going to come into this cold. Has it got a cast list at least, like a character list of what we need casting?
We'll have to probably look through the.
Okay, so it doesn't have at the top like a script tends to do a list of characters, right? Okay, so we're all going to go into this cold, and that's a promise, right? Because that's going to be quite interesting.
Yeah,
not knowing what the storyline is.
No spoilers. Well, I haven't got a copy of the script, so
Webb you can play Ray.
Can I play BB-8?
Yeah.
Cool.
Beep.
We'll have a look. We'll have to have a quick look to see who's in it, won't we? Else we might end up with, if Lando Calrissian pops up and we go, oh, what are we going to do? I mean, that is.
I think that's clear. I reckon. I think since Gittins loves Poe Dameron so much,
he can play Poe Dameron.
I'd love. I don't think I'd be able to do him justice, but I think that's fine. Okay, cool. Well, look, gents, this has been such a fun show this week. Have we got any more comments, Lummy, before we head off?
We've got Disney Star Wars sucks. Just for looking good, Rob. We got there, looking good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
thank you to everybody who has commented into the show this week. I mean, there's been
we have got this. Sorry, Rich.
Names to mention, but go for it.
Will you get time to upload first hour of last week's episode? So who wants to watch Big Team R? We've got that's still on Twitch, Big Team R. If you want to watch it, I don't think.
It's on the Facebook. It's on our Facebook channel.
Oh,
as well.
Right.
Whoa! We can't possibly leave this without talking about one final thing, right? We haven't mentioned it at all this week.
We've not mentioned it all tonight. I thought we were going to get away with it.
I don't know.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
How do you feel about Peter Rabbit 2, Rob? Are you disappointed? Do you think it's getting put back?
Do you want to come in on the big camera, Rob?
Let me switch out. I'll call.
Finish your Lego next week. Come and have a look at Peter Rabbit with us.
Hey,
what do you think of this?
Yeah.
So apparently the garden was just the beginning. What?
Yeah,
neither have I, mate. Neither have I.
I haven't actually seen the one they did a couple of years ago.
No,
I didn't realise this had been put back. To be honest,
Rob obviously hasn't been watching the show each week. It's pretty much all we talk about.
Yeah, I might be about 3 weeks behind at this point. Just one thing or another. I would need to see the first one to have an opinion on it, really. I do sort of remember Peter Rabbit as a kid.
Funny enough, there's only one of us that has seen it, and this all started out as a joke. But I've actually seen it because my kid's seen it. And I think these guys should watch it now, just because it's.
Well, we're going to organise a big "It's All Geeks to Me" trip to the cinema to watch Peter Rabbit 2 in November.
Brilliant, brilliant.
We'll do a live review, 3-hour special.
Also, I probably should be talking about this live. This probably should be a production meeting thing. But Nathan and our birthdays are like 2 days apart from each other. Shall we do a birthday show? Like when it's closer to our birthdays, like I send Webby a present and he can open it live on the show, something like that.
Everybody send me presents. Why just you? Don't limit it, guys.
I'll send you a present, Webb. Which film do you like?
Wow. What's your favorite book? I'll take that one.
Chris, before we go, bring up Big T's last comment.
Hang on, man. Imagine that with James Corden screaming like a death scream, like they've actually hurt him to get the scream out of him.
Oh God, can you imagine bloody Peter Rabbit sitting in a car with fucking Lady Gaga doing a carpool karaoke?
I didn't get a chance to bring out tonight.
He's going to get lost in that now, isn't he? So as Lummy starts to get lost in his Star Wars storybook, it's time for us to finish the show. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this week. Thank you so much for all of your comments. There are too many names to mention, but you know who you are. Thank you very, very much for all of that. If you don't subscribe to any of our channels, what the hell are you playing at? Go to our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube pages, subscribe to channel Lumb. There's some fantastic content on there. Although actually there was a deleted scene, wasn't there, from Indiana Jones on your channel, Lummy?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He got distracted by his book.
He did, didn't he? He has no idea what we're talking about. I said this would happen. So go over to our channels, give us a like, give us a
deleted scene.
Give us a like, give us a subscribe, share it amongst your friends. Rob,
thanks for all the comments, guys.
Really nice to hear from you all.
Go on.
Tomorrow night, me and Roberto down there, we're doing a commentary on our Tuck Bushman and the Demon Bitch Bags film. So if
it's shit. I'm not in that one. It's shit.
Yeah, but the one they did last week was brilliant. Piddle Dale had 2 wonderful actors in it. They were amazing.
Oh yeah, 2 handsome young strapping lads.
Handsome
strapping. What happened to them?
Yeah, I don't know.
Time.
Yeah.
Bloody hell, he looked young.
Syphilis. Actually, I watched the commentary of Piddle Down Dale last week. It was brilliant. Really good laugh. Really enjoyed it. Well done, lads. Well done to all of the team, Matt Hicks and Natalie and Matt Jackson as well. It was brilliant. It was really lovely to see all of you up there doing it. And it was just great to hear all the stuff about this film that we'd all been a part of, but completely remotely. So it was
even Lummy, who made the fucking film, he couldn't remember. He was like, "This is news to me all the way through." Like, I don't remember this.
The bit that got me, there's the bit with the little doll swinging through the trees, and I'd forgotten all about it.
That was absolutely brilliant.
Well, the scene that I did, I've never actually seen. I've never seen that scene because we went to the cinema. It was too bright, so it was a little overexposed at the cinema. So it looked like, in my mind, you hadn't managed to get the light right, so you'd edited it into this weird 60s psychedelic dream sequence. But watching it on your stream last week, it's the first time I'd seen it. I was like, this scene works. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I went back in. It was a really good scene, that. Really good.
Weirdly enough,
really funny.
You present this show like you presented the show in Piddle Down Dale.
Crikey!
Oh dear.
So what time's the show tomorrow night, Lummy?
8 o'clock, and it's only going to be half an hour long because it's one of the short films. So
it's going to be on Facebook and Facebook Live and Channel Lumb. Your YouTube channel.
Can I just ask whether there is word in Lumb Film Camp about maybe doing one of these 20-year fucking sequel things? Do a sequel 20 years later, get the original gang back together, mate. It'd be good.
Yeah, we'll do it. We've been talking about filming again once lockdown's over and everything. We'll get back out and do some more stuff. I've actually got us entered into a competition I've not even told the other guys about. I don't think.
Brilliant. There's no better place for them to find out here. Come on,
it's a competition called the Dafters, right? And what you do, they judged it. They didn't judge it. They picked the film you have to do the other day, and we've got to do a spoof of. Let me get it. It's a film called Saint Maud. Have you heard of it?
Oh yeah.
Horror film. So we've got to do a 6-minute spoof of that for this film competition. Brilliant. So I'll be pulling everybody into it. Don't worry, you'll all get parts. It's going to be
fantastic. Is there anything else that you want to plug before we depart this platform for the evening? Radio show? Your radio show, Lummy? Box Office Radio?
Tuesday.
I'm doing his job for him. Fuck
yeah, you are.
Box Office Radio.
Prequel, sequel, Monday. We're doing Spaceballs with Matt Jackson. Matt Jackson's coming on. Tuesday, Box Office Radio, 8 o'clock. What's the score? Where I play some score music. Last week we had a technical itch. My entire playlist went down. So that show is on this week. So I'm a show in front now, which is nice.
Ahead of yourself. Amazing.
So no recommendations, no requests for this week.
You can still request, and I'll put them on week after.
You just won't play them. Brilliant. Okay.
But the stupid thing is, I had some Coming to America stuff lined up for last week, and then I had to pull the plug on the show. So this week, you'll hear me go, here's some Coming to America stuff, because it's just come out.
It sounds really good.
Looking forward to seeing this one. Okay, well, brilliant. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Webby. Rob, thank you so much for the double cam, for the technology, for the hard work, for the craft. You are our Lego master, Rob. There's one and only Lego master, Rob.
I agree.
Thanks for having me on. It's always a bit of fun. Even though I've not been talking that much, it's fun to sit here and just listen to you guys.
Oh man, no, it's absolutely
talking Lego. It's hard.
No, it is, especially when you've lost a piece.
I hope you find that piece.
Oh God, I genuinely really hope you find that piece. I'm going to be a bit anxious between now and then. Can you just like text us just to let us know when you find it? When you're home safe,
make sure
just
you know
text us. Text us when you find it. You're fantastic.
I've got some thanks coming in. Thanks,
oh, thanks, Terry. Thanks, Big T. Cheers, man. Thank you. Oh, bless you. Well, brilliant.
Thanks,
thank you, everyone. And we will see you in some format next week. But from us, for Lummy, for Webby,
we'll stop Richie talking about his medical problems. You don't
not necessarily. Well, it depends.
Maybe not. We'll see what happens this week.
Maybe it might be funny. Who knows? I might get bum grapes. Yeah, absolutely. Well, brilliant, ladies and gents. Thank you very much. This has been episode 14 of It's All Geek to Me, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.